Hi guys and booze. I'm gonna I've got like 4 or 5 pages of notes. I hope you guys are impressed. I worked really hard since I didn't go live last night like I promised I would. Um wait, let me make sure. Can you guys hear me? No. All right, says it's working. So, all right. So we'll start there. Girl Ryan, since you brought it up and Rebbit brought it up, and hello Rebbit. Um Nobody told me I had to charge these things. So, hi Rubicon. Welcome. Um, is there like I don't see like a USB port or anything like that on here. How do I like dance naked with it under the full moon or something? Like somebody please inform me. Um, yeah, I don't know what to do with this thing. Is it already wore out? Is that why I think it was working, but maybe I sucked all the energy out of it. Is that how it works? So, somebody let me know. Hi, cold recovered. And oh, we got a lot of I haven't seen some of you guys in here. And I'm only seeing your the stupid your like your YouTube, like your channel name or whatever. So if I don't have you memorized already, maybe just put like who you are because I know who most of you are. So I don't. Okay, Angela. All right. Angie. And it's me. Is it Bubsy? I think. I see Bugsy, but I only know oh, Steve. Hi, Steve. Okay. I will I started to like make notes of who everyone was because that's all I'm seeing. And it's not gonna work. I'm not gonna remember, but eventually maybe I will if but by that time maybe YouTube will go back to showing screen names instead. It's Steve. Hi Febby. Welcome guys. All right. I don't know if you guys heard. So this is what I did. We talked about uh what was it last time? Well, we talked a lot about crystals and I didn't know I had to charge them. So someone is going to have to school me on that. I don't know what I need to do. I do have those little crystals. The little mushroom ones, and I'll show you guys those in a minute. Oh, you might have already seen it, but and hi, Katie. Let's see who else. Katie and Steve and we're gonna. So I just threw the Salem witches in there because it is October, and I love the. I have so much stuff on the Salem witches. It's not even it's a little it's almost ridiculous how much I have on it. I've bought a lot of books. So and I've been to Salem too many times, but not enough. And I'm gonna be going back again very soon, hopefully. Pause cross. And yeah, it sounds like a lot of us need to be educated on the crystals. And if there's any of you guys that are like an expert on it, I'm trying to get my friend with the shop, but she said she's really shy and she doesn't want to come on. So I told her to at least um, give me something to like show you guys. But like I said, I just started talking to her. We'll get an update on the crystals, but I do whoever knows something about them, let me know. Oh, well, here, we'll just do these real quick. We'll get the crystals out of the way. Um, so this is these are the little mushroom ones she makes, and I don't even know what kind of crystal this is made out of. I don't I don't think it's like quartz. I don't think it's white quartz. But you can kind of see what I mean by like the shape of them, right? They're weird. They're weird, but they were so cute and I had like I bought a few. So because this is a white quartz. If anybody knows, somebody shout out because I don't know. So that's why I don't think this one is white quartz. It looks like it has, I don't know if you can, like it has some kind of marbling on it, but I don't know if you guys, aren't these like, they're really cool. I think they are. I know Pat, my cousin Pat, when she comes in here, she's probably going to be really sad that she missed these because I know how much she likes shrooms. And let's see, quartz is see-through and an agate is cloudy, I think. I think you're right, Fem. I think you're right. So this, maybe this is some type of agate because you can't, this one you can't see through. Like it's solid. Maybe it's just marble or something. I don't know. But she says they're all supposed to be some type of crystal. Um, and then there's a turquoise one, and this one, I think this little guy's my favorite. He's pretty cute. Hopefully it's focusing on there. My camera's a piece of crap though, so well, it's not a piece of crap, it's cheap. And then this one's green. So I'm sure it's not jade, but I can't see, well, I guess you can kind of see through it. So I'm not sure if anybody knows what the green ones are. This is my other one that I like. So those are, I've got a few more, but these are the ones that stand up. A couple of them always tip over, so I just keep them in a jar. Or not a jar, but a little, it looks like a cauldron, a little witch's cauldron that I keep the, don't I'll share things with you guys as we go along, but I won't share why I have a oh, and I do have my Salem Mass t-shirt on, or one of my many Salem Mass t-shirts, because yeah, I like t-shirts. But so that's our update on the crystals. And I still need to know how to charge them. I think it has something to do with the moon though, if I'm guessing, right? It's the moon, or do I put them out in the sunshine? I don't know. I know how to make holy water, and I think that's sunshine. So, I don't know how to charge crystals. But so last time, the last meeting of the seance club, we talked about marrying the ghost husband, and I am still looking. So, keep your eyes and your ears open. If you see one that pops up like on a ghost video or something and he looks like he might work out for me, just, send him my way. But I still have that true crime connection to the crazy, like, I'm not going to call her crazy. Maybe she's not crazy. Maybe she's just lonely and she dreamed up this pirate. But she has a connection to a huge true crime case. And she was, think she's connected to a guy that is accused of murder who is now dead, but he is still the prime suspect in a huge murder case. And I want to bring that one up. Uh, if I say it, I know you guys are going to guess it already. So I'm going to wait and kind of tease it a little bit because hi, Ernie. It's good to see you. Ernie, do you know about charging crystals? Because that's what we were just shooting the breeze with crystals for a little bit until we get started. But and I still have, let's see. So I still am working on that case because I want to pull up a lot more info on it because it's not just like a quick ghost story. So that one I'm still working on for you guys. Oh, you put them in the full moon. We just had a full. So I gotta, does it run out then? Like I've been wearing this in my bra, guys, like for a week now. Is it still gonna be working? I hope it's still got some good juju left in it, because otherwise I'm just, put them in stream water? Well, I didn't get it until after the full moon, so that's why, like, I mean, she said like, I've seen her place. And she has, like, tables that she sits them out on, and she's always saying, like, they're fully charged, and I was like, "I don't know what the hell she's talking about." I thought she was, I don't know, just thought she was being, like, all, new age, touchy-feely juju, all of that, but Um, maybe maybe not. Maybe I'm the weird. Well, I am a weirdo. But all right. So I'll go put it in a stream, or do I need like is this stream? Can I put it just it's in a stream right now, right? And just kidding. Yeah, that was bad. It was horrible. I'll stop with the jokes because I don't think. Um, and Fem says, "Oh, you know what? Every time I find so much stuff on Pinterest, I can't go on there. I get pulled into well, those are the better rabbit holes to get pulled into, like the ones with the memes and um like I get pulled in. Those are better rabbit holes because you guys asked for postmortem Victorian postmortem photos and you sent me on a mission that I don't know if I wanted to go. Like, I've always been interested in it, and I think I mentioned that I have a friend who collects them, like, she buys them off of eBay, she has found them different places. She did not get back to me, so I'm just kinda went with what I already knew. I watched a couple videos from, a few other yeah, death portraits, Angie. Um, I think Rebbit was the one, and if Rebbit doesn't come in here and I went down the deep, deep rabbit hole with the looking at these dead people, um, I'm gonna be very upset with Reddit because I went it's I don't know if it I mean, these people everybody in the photos they're all dead now. I mean, so I probably should when we look at yeah, see, you Angie, it's the babies. Like, it's heartbreaking. Okay, let's get it. Let me finish this up, and then we'll get into the postmortem photography. But, yeah, I I went all out for you guys, and you better appreciate this because 'cause I'm probably gonna have freaking nightmares about these creepy little babies crawling out of places coming for me. So, just so you know, I'm gonna call all of you when I have my nightmare later tonight. And we also talked about some of the haunted lighthouses, which I'm gonna get on that too. We might just do like a bunch of those because there's a lot. And I think you had already checked out when we talked about this last time. Uh the New London, Connecticut lighthouse has a ghost and his name is Ernie. I don't know if you're named after him or the ghost is named after you, but I thought that was pretty cute. So we're going to wait, who bought the doll? No, I didn't buy a doll. I am not there's no dolls coming into I was so happy when I had a boy. I can't even tell you. When I found out I wasn't gonna have to buy little dolls and things and Barbies, um, I was pretty not that that matters. I mean, boys can play with dolls too, right? That's what they say. But, yeah, I was pretty happy I wasn't gonna have to go through any of that because those dolls are crazy. Did so Ernie, yeah, there's a ghost named Ernie. I'm doing some, uh, research. These are rabbit holes I don't mind going down for you guys, the lighthouse ones, those are fine. But next time when I go do these, like, well, even the witch trials are pretty darn sad. So, I think I'm going to start with the postmortem, photos. I found I found some photos on eBay. I covered up the faces. I omitted some that I was like, I don't wanna show that." Um, and I was advised not to show that because they're like yeah, like Angie said, there's a lotta there's baby ones. So we'll start talking Victorian death photos, and I have a little hopefully Sassy comes in because I did find something for Sassy. She donated a cup of coffee to me, and every time, I'm gonna put this out there. So Sassy loves the jump scare videos. and she gave me a cup of coffee so that I could stay up all night and find more of those for you guys because she loves them so much. So when Sassy buys me coffee, I am going to find more jump scare videos. And I think that's what we're going to use for like our brain bleach, like when we need a palate cleanser. Uh, I'm just going to pop those in because I think they'll make us laugh. So I've got one to go on. Yeah, I texted Sassy. I know she's got family obligations right now, so maybe she'll be on later. But she's been a busy, busy girl. But we'll do the uh what was I? Where was I? See, Sassy got me sidetracked. So if you guys donate a cup of coffee, I let me know what you want to see or hear or discuss, and I'll go do it. So if you buy me a coffee, I'll stay up all night and I will go down a rabbit hole. But make it a fun rabbit hole. So don't make them dead babies and doll. Well, I can handle the dolls as long as I don't have to buy a doll off eBay. We'll be okay. I'll go look up dolls for you guys if you want to know more. If you want to see more haunted dolls, I did find a haunted armoire that I'm going to bring up. Probably, I don't know. I think I'll get a few more haunted objects collected. Like put them together, and then I'll yeah, the rabbit hole. I thought when I went down this rabbit hole, I thought I was gonna see rabbit, and I didn't, and I was very disappointed. It was just a lot of dead babies down there, and I didn't like it. But so I will issue, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it was rabbit that asked for these. But if she didn't, we're just gonna blame it on rabbit. This is all her fault. But I love you, rabbit. And it is I actually found out a lot of things that I didn't know. So after the death photos, if my camera stays working and StreamYard doesn't take a dump on me, we'll get into the first part of the Salem Witch Hysteria. And when I say witch, that these aren't real witches. And then we'll close up like with the first part of the Salem witches, and then we'll kind of keep going with it because there's a lot. I have a lot. I have a lot of photos. I couldn't get them all to load because StreamYard it was stroking out. So it was being stroke yard yesterday, which is why I switched days to stream. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to bring up. So I think we're going to start doing Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sunday nights for streams. So, and it'll probably be more ghost focused for the time being, and I'll sprinkle in a little bit of true crime and the cemetery stuff as we go through. Um, but I'm having a lot of fun with this kind of morbid stuff. So I don't know if you guys like it. I mean, I'll throw some crystal crap in here if you guys like. I'm getting into it now. Um, anything if you guys have I'll try stuff at least once. Well, not everything. Don't go crazy with that. But Them says here, let me pop up a couple of your guys's. Hi Tish. See, I'm starting to remember some of your guys's full names here. See, I don't want to start collecting. What's a dingle hopper? A haunted dingle hopper. I don't even know what a not haunted dingle hopper looks like. So but I really want to see a haunted one. But I'm not going to start a haunted museum. Mia! Oh, oh, from The Little Mermaid. You know how long it's been since I've watched that? I totally forgot about it. Sup, Mia? What's up? And Ernie, I love graveyard stories too. Like I was going through, so I was trying to find my photos from the 2 different memorials, for the witches, and I couldn't find them. So I just typed in memorial into my Google Photos, and I have, like, 8,000 cemetery photos, 8,000, and that's just on my Google Drive, like, my main Google Drive. That's not the other 4 that I have, and it's also not my Amazon photo drive. So, I hang out in the cemetery too much, and I really so you guys have to give me some things to go search for. So, maybe I get out of the cemetery a little bit more. Um but I really do like it there. It is kind of my thing. But should we start with the photos? Is everybody ready? So everybody take a deep breath because it's gonna be a little heavy, but you're gonna learn some stuff too. Because I learned some stuff, and I'm gonna turn you on to one of my favorite YouTubers because she is freaking awesome. Her name is Caitlin, and she is Ask a Mortician, and I will put her uh, channel. I'll pop it into the probably into the community because I'm really bad about going back and putting notes in on my streams, but I will get better. I, maybe, or I'll just find somebody who will do it for me. Hopefully. And if anybody wants to go back and edit my streams to include everything in it, I'm hiring, but I'm not paying anything either. So, but check out Ask a Mortician, and I will pop her. Like I said, I'll pop her channel into the. But I love her. So if you want to know all these things, anything, she is an actual mortician. She is funny as hell. Like I could see myself hanging out with her. Like I would go on trips and vacations. Oh, thank you, Mia. And my oh, see, now you're gonna get me sidetracked with hair, and that happened last stream. So we're and where's Stevie? Stevie hasn't popped in yet. So he's the one that tries to keep us well, no, actually, no. He distracts the chat more than I think he tries to keep us on track. But all right, so I've got all these pages to get through here. But thank you. No more hair talk. But thank you. Because I washed it today. So it feels all soft and stuff. But it looks a little flat, but that's okay. I straightened it, so that's probably why it looks weird. All right. So more with the lighthouses that'll be coming. Crystals, you have to charge them in a stream or a full moon, apparently. So, but hopefully it stays charged for a month, right? That's my guess. And then we went over the little mushroom crystals, which are really cute. And she doesn't have an online store, but if somebody I know, isn't that's the little green one's my favorite, one of my favorites, and the turquoise. And then I just got sidetracked again. All right, because I am putting off this Victorian death stuff. Because the Victorians, they were some morbid people. They really were, and I feel really bad for them. But they did a lot of messed up stuff here too. But we'll just stick to the photos that they did. And you kind of do have to get into the Victorian mindset. But there's a couple different names for so they're I just look up Victorian death photos or portraits. They're also called memento mori portraits and memento mori, which you'll see this on a lot of really old headstones. So like if you're in New England, uh, especially like around Massachusetts, like you're up around Salem, you'll see momentum mori on a headstone. And it just means remember you must die. So we're all going to die, which is a very lighthearted thing for us all to be happy about. So, see, Mia, you learned some yeah. See? I'm gonna educate you guys tonight, but I'm gonna try to keep it light and upbeat as as I can make it for and the Victorians were yeah, they were awesome in a lot of ways, and they were really freaky creepy in a whole lot of ways, but freaky creepy, like, I can get behind that, like, it's okay. So, they were also called there was one other name, and it oh, postmortem photos as well. I didn't see my little scribble over here on this side, but let me pull should I show the photos first and then talk some more about them? Ugh, it's a buzzkill, guys. It's gonna be a real buzzkill. I'm gonna pop ugh. Alright. So, a couple of these are gonna look weird because I did go the ones that I wanted to show you, but I didn't wanna get everybody down with the babies and the little kids. I just put a little circle over their face because I didn't it was last minute and I didn't have a way to, put a like, blur it out. So I'm gonna show this. So everybody ready? Here we go. Because 'cause I'm not even sure if I'm ready for this, but alright. Oh, you know what? Nope. I didn't put a circle over this one. So, I apologize, but I'll talk about this one real fast. So, all of these photos I'm gonna show you, these are all on eBay, so you can buy these. You don't have to know who these people are. People just collect these, and there goes my phone. Um, it's a huge, huge market. Like, I can't believe how much these things are like, how much they're asking for these. And I really wanted to show this one, and it's super sad, yes, but it was a reality for Victorians. I think it was where's my little note here? I think 1 in 6 children die before the age of 1, and 1/3 of children would die before the age of 5. So and this is a time that photography is really just getting started. So, it's not like I mean, back in the old days, older than Victorians, they would have had their portraits painted, some or hand drawn sketches, which may or may not actually look like the person. And then imagine this comes along, photography. You've got a picture of your loved one that you'll carry with you for the rest of your life. And imagine your loved one you know what? I'm gonna go to the next slide because this one's really oh god, that's sad too. Okay, there's a dead old lady. She lived a good long life, guys. We'll sit on this one for a second. Like I said, some of these are really scary. So, the very first photo I showed you, that is called a daguerreotype, and that is one of the first photo type processes. So, that photo is up the bid is $425 right now. It has another week left, and if you wanna buy it outright, it's $745 for a photo of a father and his deceased child, which that just and I'm a h I'm like 99.9% positive that that photo is an actual, um that's an actual death photo because we're gonna get into that too, because that is the part that gets really interesting. A lot of these photos claim to be Victorian death portraits, but they're not. So there's a few things we're gonna learn that maybe by the end of this, we're all gonna be able to pick out some of the fake ones. Well, not necessarily fake, but the ones that people like to say that they're dead. And right, Ernie, everybody in these photos are dead now anyway, so, like, even the living people that are posing, they're all gone. So, I mean, they're all right? Like memento mori, we're all gonna die. So, as I am, so you shall be one day. What is yeah, I think that's how it goes. It's something, I saw it on a headstone once. Something yeah, I'm gonna find the headstone for you guys so you can see it, it's really cool. But back to these guys. So, this lady so the child in the white dress, that was the slide before. This one is, from the 1860s, and that one is going for 40 bucks. So it's kinda crazy. I mean, just the fact that these are just old photos alone probably makes them a little bit more expensive, but I don't it just seems crazy some of the prices on these. Now this lady in the casket. Hello, Sister Wendy. I still can't see you, but hello. I don't know why I can't see you. It's so weird. Um, this lady in the casket. Now this is a cheap photo. You can get this one for like 10 bucks. So if you want it, I will all you have to do is go to eBay and just put in I think I just put in Victorian death photos, and I got a pretty wide variety of them. Look and make sure like, if you're interested in this, be careful. If you're gonna pay a lot of money for one of these, make sure they're an original and not, just a copy. Because I did see a lot that they have for sale for like 10, 15 bucks that I have seen other places, so I know they're not an original, like, I've seen them in the shows and such when they're talking about, uh, like, the collections of death photos, these are some of the photos that pop up, right? Um And this is actually I think this casket is I think this photo said it was from this is from the 1930s. So we're a little past the Victorian era, right? By this point. And obviously things are getting a little bit more fancy, but the custom of taking photos of a dead person is still clinging on. I I almost kinda and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I always sorta thought, this is, like, a Southern tradition, and because it's very odd, the Southern people in my family, I've noticed that they do this a lot, like, my grandmother, they're from, like, Southern Missouri and Virginia, and they when we went through her photos she had a lot of photos of dead people, like, in their caskets, like, from the funeral. So I kept kinda wondering if this is like a Southern thing, but is it an Italian thing too, Mia? That kinda makes sense, right? Yeah, I could see being an Italian thing, and kinda think too, maybe like Irish, like wakes and such, like but, I mean, you would think by this time, right, that, like, at least by the 30s, they should have had a couple of photos of grandma already where they didn't need to necessarily take a photo of her dead, but maybe they didn't. Maybe by the 30s, photography was a lot more, readily available for people to get their photos taken, um, but grandma, I mean, that's a pretty dang nice coffin. I think she could have afforded to get a actual portrait done. Like, this is not how I wanna go out. Like, I don't want this nobody take a photo. I'm gonna be cremated anyway, so um, it won't matter. But and yeah, Angie, that was pretty common practice she says her grandfather was laid up in their house, that that was pretty common back for the time, up until I wanna say probably, like, probably about the 20s or 30s, they started with funeral homes. I'm not exactly sure when when that movement happened. I wanna say it was about the 20s or so. But before that, they did have funeral homes, but for the most part, when you died, everything was done right there in your home. They took care of all that stuff. They got you in your best suit, best dress. You'll see a lot of photos of women in their wedding dresses. That's a pretty darn popular one. So and Angie says, let's see. In the South, more like the late six oh, up into the '60s. Wow, I didn't know that. That's I'm making a note of that because that is interesting. It's just so it's so different with the different regions in the US, like, the different practices, like, what held on longer in some regions versus others. Like, I know in Michigan, I think the funeral home caught on pretty quickly, like, up here, but I do know, like, our old house, um there were quite a few funerals that probably happened in our old house because I think one of my grandmothers she died in, like, '48, and she was the first one that had passed away that actually got to go to the funeral home and have a funeral home funeral. So everybody else before that was just taken in the house, and there's a there's a whole rabbit hole we can go down with that as well. Like you'll see the old houses and they have like 3 front doors, and there was the I don't what do you wanna not really a myth, but they always said that the 3rd door was they only use that door for the coffins to go out, like, when somebody died. I've never found if that's true, but I'm willing to go down that rabbit hole, and I will see if there's any truth to that because, it would be an interesting one to figure out. Maybe we'll launch off of the Victorian death photos, and maybe I'll look into that next because that would be interesting. All right, on with this lady. This next one is this one's kinda this one creeps me out a little bit, because she looks like she could just walk out of there. They did a really good job on her. This says it's from the 1890s to the early 1900s, so this is also on eBay. $377 is or best offer. So if you guys want this one, I think this one's a really lovely one. I wonder if can I pop that up there a little no, I think that's as big as I'm gonna get it. But this is I mean, it really does look like she's gonna kinda like, just walk out of that casket, but I'll pop up the next one. Now this one is probably not a Victorian death photo, even though this is on eBay and it's listed for $7.99, and it says it's Victorian, and it's a woman with her 3 kids, and I think they're trying to say that the little one sitting down there on the bottom with her head resting, they could all be maybe they're all dead. Maybe Mia. Yeah, they're all looking a little well, and this is one thing that we have to remember about this time period too. Now we take a right, we take a selfie, it's there, right? It's instant. Back in Victorian times, you had to sit there for anywhere from a minute to several minutes, right? And you had to hold that pose. So, how are you going to pose? And Ryan, I'm going to start this comment because I want to come back to that one here. Um, I'm flipping through all my pages here because I have a whole lot of. Here we go. I know I have a whole thing on the photography. Yep. Maybe not. Maybe it didn't. Well, so there were long exposure times. I'll just leave it at that. So you'll notice a lot of these, like that vacant stare. It doesn't mean they're dead. There- uh, there's a couple things, right? Like you're gonna sit there, you're gonna have the easiest pose possible, right? You're not gonna hi Rabbit. Yay! Oh, a salad sounds so good right now. But, okay, back to and r oh god, he's scary. Okay, go back, go back, go back. Sorry, guys, that was a jump scare if you saw him. But you look at all these, like, They're looking kinda all of them are looking creepy. They're Victorians. They all kinda look creepy. That's just how they were, but they're trying to sell this photo as a death photo. It it probably is not. So, if you can imagine, how to say this, um, you guys have seen Weekend at Bernie's, or a lot of people have seen Weekend at Bernie's, like, he's all woo like, flopping around, right? He's not gonna sit straight. It's when they say dead weight, it's dead weight. It's heavy. It's a heavy thing. So, this for this child to supposedly be dead, they're not going to, like, that child's not gonna be propped up like that to sit there dead. She's probably laid her head on her mom's lap and closed her eyes right as the photo was taken and while it was developing, and that's probably why it looks like maybe she's dead, and she is kind of a creepy looking little kid too, but and then they say, like, so the especially these early photos, and this looks like a pretty early one just by the coloring. I'm not I love photography, but I'm not well versed on all the types. I know a few of them. This is just old. Let's just say that. This is probably I'm gonna look at her dress and say, like, maybe, uh, like, after the Civil War, maybe 1870s, 1880s, but they say that they have this, so if their eyes are closed, they were probably blinking. This vacant stare, or the what people are trying to say is like a death stare, is actually, if you look, I don't know, I don't know if I can zoom in on it. No, I can't. But with this photography process, blue eyes appear white. So if you had light colored eyes, you're gonna look hella creepy. You're gonna look like, like, what were those things from Game of Thrones? Didn't they have the white eyes? But, that's what you're gonna look like. So it's even though you're alive, but you have light blue, so you have light colored eyes, light blue eyes, light green eyes, light hazel, whatever, right? It might look like you have white eyeballs, and it's gonna look really creepy. Um, so that's one of those things. Like, I have a photo of I'll find it, and I'll show you how creepy. This is I think it's my 4 yeah, 4-time great grandpa. We all have what we call, like, these same color blue eyes, and his eyes in this photograph, like, I swore I thought he was dead in the photo for the longest time, like, my mom would have it, and it creeped me out when I was a kid, like, it really did terrify me because his eyes almost look white, and I'll find some I'll find some photos that do that there, um, but that's what gives them that kind of that creepy look, right? It's just the way the photography process is. So they're not really dead. They're just creepy. That's just a creepy kid right there. And hello. See, guys, we have a celebrity in the chat. Hi, Dean. This guy right here. Not Dean, this dead guy that I'm showing you the photo. He's pretty creepy. This is 100% sure, this is a death photo, and you can see behind him that, like, waffling, that is, the what they used to actually, where was that? I just saw, where was it? The cooling board. Was that you, Angie, that this is sorta what he's laid out on right now. It's a type of, right, like, this is what they're prepping them, getting them right, like, cleaned up and all of that, getting them dressed. They'll be on this. Had little holes in it, probably. I don't know if they washed them on this. I'm not entirely sure about the whole process, but yeah. So, and he definitely is. He's creepy as hell. This one here is where I'll pop in with they did these photos very quickly. Yeah, Angie, they washed and dressed them, and that was the right, like, the board that they put them on. And I know, like, that waffle one, that was something that they used, I think that was right around Civil War, because I remember seeing a lot of, photos with, soldiers and such laid out on them, and that was about that time period. And this one here, I thought this one was really cool. So, when these photos were done, they actually had photographers that would come to your house on a very short notice and take these death portraits for you. The idea was to get them quickly um, before decomposition set in, and in a few of these, you're gonna notice. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh because this is a creepy one, even for me. If you look in this lady's probably just recently passed, but if you look over to the right, would be if you're looking at it, be your right-hand side, there is a sheet over the mirror, and they've left a little bit of the mirror exposed, but they've covered that up because that is an old tradition, right? Like, they would cover the mirrors because they always thought the soul would get trapped in the mirror. So they've covered that up. I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know how much that photo, let me see what they Oh, hey, if you guys wanna buy that old man one, he's $50 on eBay, so that's a pretty good deal. I don't think I wrote woman in bed. Oh, this is $128 on eBay. This would be a good one for you guys to get started on if you're looking at, getting into collecting these. I like this one. I would blow this up even bigger and maybe make a mural of it. It's really cute. But on we go. This is let me find her. No, I don't have this one. Oh, no. This is Young Girl in Casket, 1865 France, and this one is $40. And that's really beautiful. That was sad. Let's go to another one. This one, I'm kinda torn on whether Hi, Jen. Welcome. You finally made it. And I'm sorry about the topic. This is Rabbit's fault. No, but I this is a topic I like too, so it just gets it might be a little sad. It's Victorian stuff, so it's always gonna be a little morbid, but this photo, I'm not 100% sure if this I don't know if the girl is dead or not. They're trying to say, but I've seen this photo other places, so this is just a copy of an original photo. I probably wouldn't I don't even know, let's see, woman and child photo. Well, it's $7.99. I wouldn't save your money. Save your money. Don't buy this one. Oh, awesome. Well, you're gonna love this, Jen, because this is the craziest. You think so, Mia? You think the girl is dead? What do you guys think? I don't know. I mean, I think yeah. And I also kinda like the mom I'm gonna say her mom. I'm gonna say this is probably Civil War era. So what, 1860 to 65, and well, 67. We can go that far. But it does kinda look like it has on the sleeves, so it does look like she's wearing a jacket, like a Union? I think that would be a Union jacket. So Rabbit, to clarify, I question her interest in death rituals. Well, but that still got us here, Rabbit, so it's still I mean, it still gets us back here. But I lo and Mia says, "Yeah, the vacant stare." So I'm not I don't know. This one, I don't know. I don't no matter how much I loved somebody in my family, I don't know if I could sit there with their dead self on leaning on me. I don't know. It's just a little well, I don't think they're Ernie, I don't think they're both dead. I just think if anybody's dead, I think it might just be the daughter, but that mom does not. She does kinda look like she's, oh, it's little misfit ear. Hello. People died a lot. Yeah. So, what did I say? 1 in 6 children died before their first birthday. 1/3 of children didn't make it to their 5th birthday, and if you think about it, they didn't have vaccines, so smallpox and I think smallpox if you got smallpox, like 80% of children, if they got smallpox, they died from smallpox, and it was everywhere. So, let me find I know I wrote a couple notes down, like, about I mean, the Victorian times, plus you had I think a lot of this might have come especially in the US, the Civil War took so many men from their families, and that started a whole, uh, trend with mementos, like, they would take hair pieces, locks of hair, they had brooches, we'll get into those another time because those are a little less morbid than the photos, but still very interesting. So, I'm still torn on this one, I don't know. She could very well be dead, but and then you have to think too, right, like women in childbirth, how many probably didn't survive childbirth? Yeah, like Mia, they had measles, diphtheria, pertussis. Gosh, I have a whole list here somewhere. I swore I wrote it down. Oh, here it is. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at this, like a whole entry, almost a whole page. Scarlet fever, typhus, smallpox, measles, diphtheria, scarlet fever. Smallpox killed 80% of children that it infected. That's a lot. But and then you also had to think of malnutrition, starvation, and this did I mean, it did vary by location. Obviously, you would think cities would probably have better conditions, but that's not probably true. Sanitation, so right, they weren't washing their hands. There was probably poo and everything else just right, like, rushing out into their drinking water. It was just a total cluster, right, during the Victorian era. And I did put on here, childbirth because, like, Mia, she just popped up here and said, yeah, and those viruses spread, like, especially you have 1 kid with smallpox, you have say you have 7 kids, like some of these families did, all of your kids now have smallpox. Uh, typhoid is always like, Typhoid Mary, she's so cool. But yeah, first wife died in childbirth, and then he remarried a younger woman and had 7 more kids. That was pretty darn common. Um, I'm gonna have to it I told you guys about the gentleman that I think may be haunting the cemetery where I go, the one that does the shoulder taps and the, uh, pops on the neck, and yeah, guys, TB killed a lot of adult people as well, so and yeah, Mia, you're just bringing all the good stuff tonight. Yeah, Abigail Adams, she had, I read that. It took me a long time to get through it, but the book on John Adams, they actually to inoculate children from smallpox back in the day well, to inoculate anybody, they would I think Mia, correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause you'll probably know, but they would cut like, put a cut on you, and then they would put, like the for lack of a better word, uh, the pus from one of the little smallpox, the blisters, right? Because you get like chicken pox, you get those little blisters, right? And they would take that out of there and then they would put it inside that cut. So the theory was you would get sick, but not sick enough to die. And I know the Adams family, I thought the Adams family, um, I thought they didn't have any, I don't think anybody died, but that was a good way, like that was pretty much the only way they had to expose themselves to a virus and hope that their body would, right, like build the immunity to it. But this was, I mean, that even Abigail Adams, that's wow. Like just the thought that she had the thought to do that, right? Like to protect her family is just freaky crazy. And Abigail Adams is probably, yeah, girl, Ryan, her and Eleanor Roosevelt, probably my two favorite first ladies with Jackie O coming in there, probably like a good solid third. But she just to do that, I mean, she was risking her kids' life. She did it to herself as well. So and I yeah, Mia said they all lived. I thought one of the kids almost died, but it's been a long time. I read that book, the John Adams for my one of my DAR book clubs and oh, it was really good, but it was really hard to get through. That and the what's the other one? Alexander, the one on Alexander Hamilton. Oh my goodness. I'll never read those again. Um, so okay, back to how people died in the Victorian era. So you had soldiers, all these men that died, Gettysburg, and I mean, throughout the Civil War, there were a lot of widows. There was a lot of sadness. Your kids are dying. You might have 7 or 8 kids, but you're not guaranteed that all those kids are gonna make it, right? Like, they're probably not gonna make it. You might have 1 or 2 kids that actually survive to adulthood, and even then, you get to adulthood, and it's still not a guarantee that you're gonna, um, get oh, yeah, the the books are yeah, they're excruciating. And Tish, yeah, there is yes. I have that book somewhere here in a box, and I'm gonna look for it really hard, but it might still be with my other books in Colorado. It is freaky, freaky, creepy, scary, and that was like people thought I was weird. I read that book like a couple times at work, and people would walk by and be like, "Oh, what you reading?" And they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah." That'll people stop talking to you after that. But yeah, I would watch the John Adams, and it has, yeah, Laura Linney, not Winnie, um, Paul Giamatti, right? Did I think that's him. Is it Paul Giamatti? And this is vesicles are fluid-filled bumps on the skin. So that's what they would pop, like the little smallpox, they would pop that and then just put that, like, ugh. First forms of inoculations. So we go back. I think that's all I had on the mortality rate, poor sanitations. Yeah, maybe if you grew up in the country, you might have a better chance of survival. It wasn't a guaranteed, but yeah, like childbirth. A lot of women died in childbirth. A lot of children didn't survive childbirth. Uh, we have twins nowadays, which most of the time twins are pretty, they're pretty common, especially when with IVF and all of those that type of thing. You see a lot of twins. They're not too bad, but imagine twins back in like 1870. Like if you started having issues, I'm pretty sure these women weren't going to go on bed rest because they had probably 6 or right a bunch of other kids they had to take care of. So these women weren't gonna be like putting their feet up and taking it easy. All right, I'm gonna move off this sad photo because I'm not sure if she's dead, but that girl's creeping me out. This one they said is a death photo. It is not. This is not. Because even I, as a non-expert, can tell that this is not. This is supposed to be woman with a man, and I think they're trying to say she's dead, perhaps. Um, and this one is 34.95 on eBay. I don't I think this is I don't know, I just think you see how still she's sitting? I just think that's how she's sitting there for the portrait. This is not a death photo, so don't buy this one if you go on eBay. This one was really cool. This one is only $7.99, but it's pretty good. But you can see, look, she's in her bonnet. She's probably dressed. This is her Sunday best, right? And he's probably got his best suit on, or maybe his only suit. We don't know, but I mean, you can tell. Look at the how old that house is. This is probably well, I don't know. Are those bib overhaul? I think the guy's wearing bib overhauls. Um, yeah. Yeah, that last photo, yeah, they're very much alive. So some of the things this one was pretty cool. This is Jesse James. And of course, you guys know, like, if it was a outlaw, like Bonnie and Clyde, there were death photos. Those were pretty common, right? Uh, I just thought this one was pretty cool. There was another one with him in his, already in the casket they were gonna bury him in, but I didn't realize Jesse James would I mean, even dead, he's not too terrible looking, so but still, yeah, I know the old couple that they put oh, look how big that is a big box they put him in. I mean, that's yeah, and this is another one, I'm not 100% she might be dead because I'm looking in the background and I think that is a sheet covering something, like maybe a mirror. What do you guys think? I think she's dead too. Um, but I think that because that sheet is probably I bet there's a mirror or something underneath that. But I mean, look at that poor mom. She looks those are some sad eyes. I don't think she's just sitting there like trying to hold still, right? I think that's her daughter. She looks a little the girl looks a little older. They probably got her propped up. Like looks like there's a blanket on her there. They probably got her propped up somehow, but but yep, she's dead. But the parents are alive and very, very sad. And me, yeah. Jesse wasn't altogether unattractive. No. And I should have looked for some of the ones from Lincoln because there are people took a lot of photos of Lincoln when as he made his journey across, right, like from Washington D.C. to Illinois. I mean, they were constantly pumping embalming fluid in him, so he was like probably one of the most well preserved um, presidents ever just because they had to since it was such a long, journey, and I do remember, like, when they you guys ever hear the story where they actually stole Lincoln's body out of his tomb? And when the first time that they opened it, he looked still like he was alive, like he could get up and walk, and Mia yes, oddly enough, so Queen Victoria they do have a death photo of her, and in her death photo, she's laid out in her bed, and she on the wall above her bed when her husband, Prince Albert, died, she had his death portrait hanging by her bed. And so when you see her death portrait, you also see Prince Albert right above her in his death portrait, which is a little I don't know how much you guys know about, Queen Victoria and her very deep love for her husband, where she kinda was a little, let's say, dramatic. It affected her very much, uh, so much so that, like, she every day they still had his clothing, like, what he would wear for the day, like, he still had a valet who would put his suits and all his things out, right? Like, if he was actually going to get out of bed and put these clothes on. So, everything was ready for him every day until the day Queen Victoria died. Like, that was how she wanted it, that's the way it was, and she was a little, um I think she was a little crazy. Just a just a little bit, but she was the queen, right? She could do whatever she wanted, and people had to do what she said, right? Most of us would probably just be, we're gonna mourn and get through it, and people are gonna tell us, "Yeah, you need to take that death portrait off the wall now. You should be past this now." And they were, I I like to think that they were, of all the queens and the royals, I think they actually truly did have a love story, and I think she really did miss him, but I think she took it a little far. But yeah, but it was still pretty sweet. I think that I mean, she never forgot him, obviously, and even in her I think she was buried in her wedding dress, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to let me see if I can what I can dig up on Queen Victoria too. I should have grabbed that photo. I didn't even think you guys would wanna watch it. Um, oh, death mask. Oh, now there's a rabbit hole. I'm gonna get into that. Do you have, Mia, if you have photos of that, I think you showed me some. I remember you showing me photos from her house. I would love, if you have a photo of that, uh, that would be really cool. Uh-oh, Megan's in the chat. Run! Megan, don't be bullying anybody. I'm just kidding. Welcome. And let's see. I'm gonna try to catch up on some of your, um yeah, my mom just passed away, about a about a year, what is it then? Gosh, I guess it's a year and a half, or yeah. I I don't I don't like open caskets. It's so creepy. I definitely don't want a photo of them in the casket. I have that memory now in my head, and I don't really, but I guess if that is the only, like I said, some of these people, they probably didn't have any other way, right, to remember, like, these people, maybe this is the only photo maybe they have of their daughter, for whatever reason. This looks like, I don't know, I'm gonna say maybe 1880s. I'm usually pretty good with dating these photos by their clothing. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1880s-ish, and they're probably a working class family because she just kinda, well, looks like she's wearing black too, but, yeah. So this might have been actually the only time, right? Like, the whole family would have been together for a photo. So these meant something to them that they could actually hold on. So they were very treasured keepsakes. They didn't think that this was a morbid thing. They thought this was the best, they probably thought this was just the most amazing thing, right? Even though they're looking at a photo of their beloved child or parent or husband or wife, uh, they still got to look at their face, even if it was a dead face. Some of these were really, like, this photo here. This one was a little creepy because the whole family got in on this one, right? um, and even if you look, at the lady, let's see, if you go from the left, she's sitting down. She's got well, they all have white tops on. On the left-hand side, she has a cat in her lap, and that's why I picked this one because I thought it was super cute. But even the family cat got in on this picture, and if you look down on the ground, you can't see very well, thankfully, another reason I picked this one, you can't really see the child very well, but everybody's in that photo. It looks like grandma, grandpa, probably look, there's a little baby in here too. So, I mean, they did not think of this as being anything weird, right? Like this was pretty normal. And it's a full family photo for them. This lady's definitely did. Yeah, Mia, it's a little tuxedo kitty. That's probably why I liked him. Um, let's see. So this lady, I don't think she's for sale. I think I found her. I think I just found her. I don't think she's on eBay, so you can't buy this one, but she's definitely dead. I don't know if she died in that chair, but maybe she did. A lot of times you'll see, I think one of the sites that I looked for information on for death photos, if they've got flowers around them, they're probably dead. Flowers for funerals obviously were a pretty big deal back in these I think it was I wanna say it was like the Victorian era because it was usually prior to Victorian era, you would die, they'd get you all ready, and then you were pretty much you were in the ground pretty quickly by the next day at least. They didn't waste any time. The Victorians, being how they loved their I wanna say they were, like, theatrical, for lack of a better word. I wanna say dramatic, but I don't know if that's quite what I'm looking for, but they had a way they love presenting, and they had a certain way they wanted things done, right? They were very they liked their rules, and they had this idea that you had to have a funeral, you were laid out, that's where we get some of these right? Like your 3 days or whatever. You have your wake, you have a viewing, people come to your house and right, like grandpa's in his coffin sitting in the front parlor. People are walking around, eating little sandwiches and drinking tea. I think that pretty much sums up probably what it what it been like. I never been to a Victorian wake, I'm much too young, but I sort of envision that in my head, and I think that's kinda how it was. I'll pop up to the okay, so this one's really sad, I'm gonna let you look at it, and because there's a baby in it, I'm gonna pop back to the creepy lady in the chair. I mean, Angie, she coulda died I mean, how fortunate if you did. Like, if you just so happened to just die in your best outfit. Um, that's the way I would wanna go. Like, look, her hair actually looks really good. Like, I'm gonna say for some of the Victorian hairstyles I've seen, this one is really good. But I do notice you guys see in the background of this photo, though, uh, there's a mirror back there with a bunch of photos. Like, it looks like one of those armoires with the mirrors on the back. Maybe not a or just maybe a dresser, but it's not covered. And typically, right, they covered the mirrors, so maybe not in this house, maybe that wasn't a tradition. Um, sometimes, Mia, they did put the dining room table served as a place for the coffin to go. They also if you had an undertaker come and prepare the body and everything for the funeral, they did have, the funeral home, the undertaker had what do they call it? I can't think of what they set the coffin up on top. somebody if somebody knows, shout it out in the chat. I can't think of it. It's got a name. It's what the coffin sits up on top of. Usually, if you had an undertaker, that is what they would use. But if you were a poor family, and especially if you weren't embalming your loved one, it was hit or miss still in those times. Yes, they could embalm people, obviously, because we know President Lincoln was embalmed something like, what, 13, 14 times before he managed to get to his tomb in Springfield, Illinois. Yes, Jen Buyer, right? Am I saying is it yeah, I think it's called yeah, Funeral Buyer. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah, that's it. But embalming would have probably been something more for the upper classes, people that had a little bit of money. If you were poor country people, you probably weren't doing that, but you probably also weren't waiting days to bury your loved one. You were probably going to do it pretty quickly. Uh, let's see. Also, and Ernie, did you have something here too? Yeah, I saw that. See, I've always thought that maybe I lived during the Victorian era because I'm really, I mean, I could, this is stuff that I am a little creeped out by the babies and the kids. But other than that, it's okay after that. Like I can get through like this lady, I don't have a problem looking at her. It's not that creepy. But yeah, these are okay. So I'm gonna tell you a little story, and it's really sad, but it's really this one. So you see the father, the mother, and the child, and then I'm gonna pop it off because I don't want to focus on it. And I do have a little story on them, and it's pretty sad. So trigger warning. I don't know. I'm just saying that. That is the Keller family, and it's Mary, who's the mother and wife, and she was 29, and her husband Emil, who was 30, and then they had their 9-month-old baby daughter. And unfortunately, this was in they all well, let's see. Emil and Mary died on January 25th, 1894, and the baby died the next day. They weren't sick. Uh, Mary had what we would probably now call um, postpartum depression. She had the little baby Anna was her second child. Her first child had died not too long after it was. I just found that it was an infant, so probably not too terrible. Probably before their first birthday, right? We've learned that. And that child was named Verena, which I absolutely love that name. But Mary was suffering from postpartum depression, and this is something that, right, they didn't understand in the Victorian era. Hell, they didn't even understand this up until what, like, let's be honest, we what, early 2000s maybe that they started to really, like, say, "Hey, um, maybe after having a baby, maybe we need to help, our moms out a little bit and listen to them and hear what they're saying and get them some help." That wasn't available in 1894 for these women, and it is really sad. She had been institutionalized, and unfortunately, she left, and it was against medical advice. They said she should still stay there, but she left and she went home, and unfortunately, she shot her husband and shot the baby and then herself. So the husband died instantly. Mary hung on for a little bit, but she died a few hours later, and then the baby ended up dying the next day. So But you would think in a lot of situations, and this is what kinda why I'm telling you guys this story, even though it's really sad. For the time period, if a woman did this, right, you would think that they would not be burying her with her husband and her daughter, right? Like, you would think, "Oh my god, this woman's nuts. She can't be buried with her family because she's the one that took them out." But as you can tell from that photo, they did a beautiful however morbid, they did a very beautiful job. They made a special custom coffin so that they could all be buried together, and they if you I'll gonna show the photo one more time, and then I'm gonna pop it back to dead lady in the chair. But if you look at that, you can't tell anybody was shot, right? So they have everybody's head tilted just right. It looks just like a family who maybe Oh, hi, Danny. Oh, you're lurking and tired. Yeah. I get that. This has been a rough week. I don't know why. Oh, I do know why. I have a kid who's going through homecoming, so that's been fun. But they positioned the 3 in a way that you couldn't see their wounds. They have Mary's head turned, and she's actually has her head positioned on Emil's shoulder, and he's kinda turned into her, so you can't see his wound, and the baby's head is turned as well. So that's what kinda shocks me. Like, I've heard this story. It's not really a true crime story, it's just a sad story. Uh, but the fact that they during that time period, they went out of their way, they knew Mary had an issue, right? They knew she was not well, and they still kept her with her husband and her daughter, despite the circumstances they were all there for. And I thought that was actually rather nice, especially for the Victorians, because they were some pretty crusty individuals, right? Like, they had their rules and, uh, sometimes I mean, if you had somebody that I mean, how many women probably were put into institutions because they were being a little, um, unruly or they talked back to their husbands, right? Women could be committed for just about anything, up until shoot, there were husbands getting lobotomies for their wives up until what, like the 50s? I wanna say, maybe even into the 60s. I'm not sure, but stuff like that did happen. And the fact that they didn't really, hold that against Mary, they just she had a mental illness, she was suffering, obviously. But the 3 of them are all buried together at Fort Hill Cemetery in oh, shoot, I didn't Auburn, New York. I did write it down here, which is on my list of places to another place to visit on the road trip to visit everybody. I don't know who if anybody is near Auburn, but if you are, that's on my list of places to go because I'm going on road trips sometime eventually here. And that is on it. All right. So back to the death photos. I want to you know what? I showed these. I found a YouTube video. I think I'm just going to link and let you guys go watch it yourself. For those people that don't wanna see any more dead babies, like me, I don't wanna see any more, dead babies, and that's like I said, predominantly all the ones I've found. But let me pop I'm gonna take, unless you guys want do you wanna keep looking at the old dead lady? I could find where's that creepy family? Here, I'll put these guys up there because 'cause they're not really dead. So some things to remember if you want to go purchase on eBay some dead people photos from the Victorian era. Like I said, I have a friend who collects them. I'm sort of I could get into this, but I already have too much stuff on my walls anyway, so I don't need any more pictures, but God, some of these are so cool looking. But where did I leave? So we talked about the dead-eyed stare, right? And we talked about child mortality. And I'm going to link this YouTube channel is Thanatos Archive, and I'll when I put the mortician, when I put her link in, I'll also link theirs. So if you wanna see more of them, I am gonna warn you, the Victorians didn't just stop at infants. They also did some pet photography too. So, if you don't wanna look at dead animals, don't watch it, because I watched it and a dog popped up and I about that was it for me, because I don't watch movies where animals die. I don't like it. Oh, hello, Stevie. Welcome. You're late, Stevie. We were looking for you earlier. Um, so the Thanatos Archive, and like I said, I'll link that for you guys if you want to go see more, if you don't mind uh seeing the animals and the infants. There were some really good examples. Like I want to show it, but I don't know. I'm already feeling this was a rough no, it's not that bad. But all the babies, we don't need to see puppies and dogs. Um, so some things to look for. Most of the time, what you're gonna look for, if they're in a casket, they're probably dead. So that's a good one. That's rule of thumb number 1. If they're in a casket, they're probably dead, right? If they try to a lot of like I said, like with this one, they had these stands, and I was trying to find a photo, and I could not find one for whatever reason. Or no, you know what? I couldn't get StreamYard to load the stupid thing. I think that's what it was. And it had like a bracket, like a U-shaped bracket on the back that would actually go on like the back of their neck, and it could be adjusted. So depending on how tall the subject was, and it would kinda hold you, like, in a rigid position so you couldn't move. Like I said, the times were like, it could be anywhere from a minute to 5 minutes for a photograph to develop. So you had to sit there the whole time, right? And just sit there. If you moved even a bit, the pho it's trash, right? And you've probably paid a fair chunk of money. You probably saved up a little bit of money if you're, like, lower income. You probably saved up some money to get that portrait, so you're not gonna right, you don't wanna move. You're not gonna blink. You're gonna keep your right? You're gonna have your eyeballs as wide as you can so you don't blink. So that's why some of these people look a little weird, is because they're just like, "Er." It's not a natural position. Like, they're not gonna be sitting there like, look at me, I'm cute," or, doing a ducky face or right? Like, they're not gonna sit there for holding that pose for 5 minutes. They're just gonna this is what you're gonna get. They're very stiff, but they're still alive. So, if you happen to see a stand, sometimes you'll see, like, the little rod or something, like, holding somebody's head. That doesn't mean the person's dead. Those they're just there to support you. It's not gonna hold a dead body. Hello, sunshine. And they didn't smile either because right, you have to hold that for however long. So usually they just have a relaxed face, like whatever was natural. I would have taken horrible photos back in this period because I like my lips turned downward. So I just would have looked sad all the time or angry. So this would not have been probably a good portrait era for me because I would have had to hold that smile if I wanted to try to look cute, and it wouldn't have happened. But oh shoot, now I made my lost my train of thought. So anyway, those stands, like I said, they're just there to act as a guide. They're not going to hold a dead body. So, like I said earlier, dead weight, right? You're not those things are not holding up. I don't know. Even floppy, like, even if rigor hasn't set in, right? Like, they're just not going to keep a body upright. You're not gonna like, this lady's sitting in the chair right now or on a stool of some nature, right? Like, she's you can't get somebody to sit like that if they're dead. So, most of the time, they're gonna be in a coffin, they're gonna be lying down, they're probably gonna have some flowers around them because they might start to, stink it up a little bit, and those are things to look for. But just because they have their eyes closed doesn't mean they're dead. It's probably because they blinked, and if they're standing upright, they're probably alive, probably. So, those are things to consider if you wanna get into this. So always be really careful. I don't think any I mean, if you guys do get into this, let me know. And um I want you to come up here and talk with me and show me what you buy because I think it would be really cool. Maybe I'll buy one. Maybe we'll do a GoFundMe and we'll raise some money to buy one of these creepy portraits. My favorite one was where was it? Oh, it might not have been I don't oh, that one's creepy. I like this one. And I think this one was how much? Shoot. You guys don't wanna know how my brain works because it's all like, look at that mess I've got going on here. Woman in bed, where is she? Woman in bed, woman in bed. So this one's $128. This should be the first purchase. I love it, but it probably won't be there when, by the time I raise money for it, but it's beautiful, and I would definitely I don't know. Yeah, I'll hang it on my wall. If I get it, I'll hang it on my wall. So, does anyone have any questions? Because I'm pretty sure I probably missed something. And we had a lot of good let's see, there was a star, a star to comet, and Girl Ryan, this one I liked. Her great-grandfather was an undertaker in the late 1800s. And I like this because I part of my family I didn't even know this until, like, I was looking through, um back in the day, they had the little cards, and I think sometimes they still do it. I think it might have been a Catholic thing too, like, they have the little prayer card. Sometimes it'll have a photo of the person on it, and at the bottom, it would have, like, the funeral home or the undertakers or the mortuary, like, right, they went by different names, and I noticed that the name sounded really familiar, and I was like, "Is that our family?" And my cousin was like, "Yeah, they they had a, funeral home for years," and I it's a good thing to have one of them in your family. I also have a cousin who does headstones, so if you guys are looking just kidding. No, I'm not kidding. I do have a cousin. They do make headstones, so, I think that's about it, right? Are we done with the dead people? Uh, yeah, that's it, guys. And still no Sassy, so do you guys still wanna see her jump scare video that I found for her? Hopefully, she'll come back and watch replay because I wanna get some of these dead people out of my brain for a little bit, and then I have another cool video to oh, actually, I was gonna see if you guys had any questions, I think, before we'll do Sassy's video here in a second. Yeah, we miss you, Sassy, where are you? She's probably sleeping. Get up, Sassy. Um Little Misfit Hat says, "I have some old photos in a family tin, the family's all alive in them." Uh, yeah, and you know what? Uh, I have a lot of these too, especially when family members they find, right? Like I don't know if anybody's ever had like cigar boxes. Do, ho- hopefully some of you know what I'm talking about, but like cigars come in the cigar box and right afterwards it was pretty common for I guess that's just where people like to store their photos. I've got I don't know how many times relatives have passed away and they've just like handed me a cigar box full of old family photos and been like, "You want these? Because we don't even know who they are." And that is, I mean, it's like game on when you're telling me these are my family members and I have to try to figure out who they are. I do my best, but yeah, it's really they didn't write on the back of them. And then if you have a great grandma like the one I had, she wrote on the front of them, which I mean, I'm glad she wrote on them, but then again, it's just like, now you can't make copies of it because, right, she's like got the name and everything right on there, but I guess it is really good. Whitman sampler boxes, that's another one I've seen photos, family photos, like those old ones get stuck in. And yeah, old those cigar boxes and the tent. I'm trying to think there was like a what like is a cookie tin. It's like oh, like the one like I think it's what like some of the old fashioned Christmas cookies like you'd get them and it came in like a little tin. I remember my grandma always having them. I have one of those around here someplace that has a bunch of photos in it too. Is whatever I mean, and honestly, it works. All the photos that I've received in, like, cigar boxes and tins oh, the tin type photos. I don't have I don't have any tin types. I wish I did. Those are I think they're so cool. I do have oh, shoot. I mean, I could get into old photos. Actually, I might have as everything falls out of here. I do have some old photos. Do you guys wanna see some? I mean, I'll just have to stick them up here because I don't have them. I don't even know what, uh I don't even know what fell out of here, but I'll look at that later. Here's one. I don't know if you guys can mm, my camera's trying to focus on me, but this is one of my favorite ones. It's just gonna kinda zoom in and out, but on the back, it just says, this is somebody that lived in our old house, and she's actually I guess she'd be an aunt of some type. 'Cause, she was the sister of a grandpa, so she'd be like a great aunt. But, it just says on the back of it, Alice Kaler and her sister-in-law, and they don't the sister-in-law is just sister-in-law, she doesn't have a name, but it's really cool. I think this is from actually, she lived in the house 1912, but I don't know if that's when this photo's from, but it's really heavy stock, like, like, you would've yeah, like, I these are the kind I like. I love these old ones like this. I've got say, I think I got a couple more in here, or maybe not. Maybe my old ones are somewhere else. Hang on. Oh, here's a cool one that I almost forgot about this one, and, I'll go to yard sales sometimes, and I go through this is ripped, like, this is only part of a part of a photo. I don't know what happened. I got this at a yard sale. I think I gave the lady, like, 10 cents for it. Um, and there's a tractor in the background. There's a guy with a axe, so I don't know if maybe they're chopping trees? Not sure. Uh, I think there's a woman, she's probably making sure they all get the job done and they're working. But again, this is on, like, on that heavy I don't know what this is, like cardboard, but it's pretty cool. Like found this at it was just in like the lady had it there. She's like, I don't even know who these people are, but like I paid a dime or something for it, so it was pretty cheap. Um, I guess that's all the. I thought I had some. I have copies of older photos in here. Like I have like there's one that's my grandma when she was a baby. Like she grew up on the Mississippi River. Like all along it. My great grandpa had a riverboat and they just went up and down the Mississippi and worked. He worked up and down doing. He was a carpenter, just whatever kind of jobs he could find. That's what he did. Uh, I thought I had one more old photo in here for you guys. There's one really cool one. I'll have to maybe I'll have to dig for it a little further. Uh, yeah, it's not. I have one, and I'm not. Sometimes you kind of wonder what was going through their mind when they took photos, right? um, this one that I have that I want to show you guys, which I don't think it's in here, and I'm going to be really bummed out. But it's just these people. Is this it? No, these guys. It looks like they're working on some sort, like maybe a like some sort of dock, and they're all sitting on it, like a warehouse dock, like maybe a feed store or something of that nature. And they're sitting there, and then they have their horse. And it's this beautiful draft horse, just huge. And the horse is just like these guys are sitting on the dock, and this horse is just standing there. And I bought the photo because it has the horse in it, and I thought it was really cool. And oh, here's there's nobody dead in this one. Well, they're all dead now, but there's a this is just a copy of the old photo, but you can see. I think this was probably early 1900s too. But yeah, I think that's about since I don't have the horse photo, but I will find it and I will show it to you guys next time because it's really cool. The poor horse is just standing there with a look on his face, like, these guys are over there sitting on their arses, and the poor horse is just like, are we supposed to be doing something? But yeah, it's fun. All right, let me look at your guys' chat and then I'll show you Sassy's video. Um, let's see. And Little Misfit, the cookie tins, oh, the buttons. Do you guys know people that they used to collect buttons? You know, buttons like for shirts. My great great grandma had a button collection, and I didn't know that was a thing. I thought that was pretty cool. Somewhere I got a picture with her buttons. But it is really I don't even know what happened to all of her buttons, but it'd be kind of interesting. But yeah, you start looking through, usually um I think that's kind of what got me turned on to genealogy and doing the family research was I would always sit with my grandma and we'd go through all the old photos. Like my great grandma saved everything, like everything, and so does my grandma. So every receipt, like they were I don't wanna say hoarders because that implies that it might have been kinda like they're kinda dirty, but because 'cause they're not, like, everything is very nice, but, they saved everything. So if I need something for research purposes, my grandmother's probably got the original, from everybody in the family. Birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce records, everything that you could need. My granny has it and has kept it all these years. Her mother, my great grandma, did the same thing. And actually, did I have a hang on. All right, this is actually a really good example. Oh, I don't know. I probably need to scan this and show it to you guys, but, um, if you whoa. Alright, go back. This little guy right here, no, wrong, wrong, camera's wrong. That little guy, if you look, he looks cut really? Really? He's blurred a little bit because he's a little kid and he moved during the photography during the photograph being taken. And and it is a little boy, even though he's in a dress, he's a little boy. It's my great uncle Art. I Yeah, Art, I think that's him. And then my great grandma is, that's my great grandma. So this is her family. unc Parents and all of that. So, but you can see, like, look how they're all standing there kinda like, "Ugh," like they got, sticks up their bums. That's just how they had to take photos, and I don't know how they ever got children's photos back then because they're impossible. But, alright, so I just wanted to show you guys that one. And then, yeah, I got tons of pictures of my great grandma. But like I said, thank goodness that they shared. But that's how I started into genealogy. I think when we started just sitting there going through family photos, and then you're like, well, who's this and who's that? And yeah, that started me on this long, long, long journey. And it is very time consuming. I don't even want to look. I don't even know how many 3-ring binders just full of, like, I've had to break up. I don't know how many of you guys uh, have done your own genealogy, but I started out with 4 3-ring binders for, so my mother's side of the family, her parents were 2 binders, one for my grandma, one for my grandpa, and then I did the same for my dad, for his mother and his father. So, 4 binders, and those binders started to get really, really thick. Like, I had the biggest 3-ring binders that you could get. There was still no more room in them, and I've now had to split several of those up, and I'm looking over at them. I think there's about a dozen of them right now. I do split some of them up too, depending on, um like, I have one for my Salem witches that, um, I'm descended from. I also have a Mayflower one just for those, so they're easy to find. And, yeah, I just, if you guys I mean, if you don't have an interest in old photos, you're probably nothing I say is gonna get you, like, turned on to them. But if you already do, I just think they're amazing. I love looking at them. I love, even if I don't know who the people are, they don't have to be related to me. Like I said, I bought that one photo, it's ripped. I don't know who those people are, but I wanted it. It was kinda cool, so I got it. And if there's a horse in it, I have one. I'm gonna find them, and I will show you guys, probably next time if I can find them. I think they're in a 10, actually, and there's a guy and his little dog, and you guys are gonna love it because it's one of my favorite photos, and I think that's a family member, but nobody knows who he is because nobody wrote on the box or on the photo who it was. But he obviously loved his little dog, and it looks like maybe, like, a little rat terrier or something. It's just an adorable, like, he's sitting there with his little dog up on this stand. It's so cute. But I'm gonna track those down so you guys can see them if you want to. If not, you don't have to look at them either. I don't. Um, and this is something too. This is why I like looking at some of the old photos. Well, one reason, when you look at people in your family, right? Like, I now that I used to, growing up, I didn't know who I looked like. I kind of thought I looked a little like my mom, and I kind of look a little like my dad. Like, it just depends how I'm turned or whatever, what expression I have. And then I found a picture of, like, one of my great grandmas, and I was like, "Oh." Her frowny mouth, She had red hair. She had blue eyes, so she looked an awful lot like me, and it makes you right, like, you feel that connection, like, like, "Okay, these are my people, this is where I come from." Some people don't care. Um, I'm kind of that mindset, like, you don't if you don't know where you come from, how do you know where you're going, sort of, is my thought process. I think it gives you a new appreciation of sorts on your life if you look back and think of all of the struggles that some of your family members may have gone through to, get to so that you could have this point in your life, so you could be where you are. I think it gives you right? Like, it's a bigger picture. It's not just you. There's a lot of people who came before you that are have shaped you, and especially when it comes to genetics, yeah, you look at those old photos and you're like, "Whoa," right? Um, we have, like, my my son too, I thought he looked a little like my mom, and I kept looking at him like, "He doesn't look like me, and he doesn't really look like his dad either." And then I found, like, a baby picture of my brother, and he looks so much like my brother. Um, I mean, he's still cute, but could have looked like somebody else, not my brother. But, yeah. Alright. Is that it for and Ernie says she looks like her great-grandma. See, so I have my great-grandma that I think I l yeah. I see her, but she didn't have well, I don't have to wear glasses all the time, just so I can read. Um, but actually, wait, no, I think she had glasses too. And let's see, I had an older sister that died at 9 months. My daughter's baby phone next to hers could be the same baby. Oh, see, that's kinda breaks my heart. Yeah, infants infants and animals, it's gonna bring me right down. It's sad, but, when you see them, I don't know, maybe Little Misfit, does it give you, does it make you feel like she's still there? Kinda like you feel that a little bit of her is in your daughter, maybe? I always think that, like, I see my son, like, certain expressions that he has, he looks just like my mom, and I'm like which I love. "Hello, C. Smith. Welcome to the party. We're talking about death and taking photos of it." Well, we've kinda moved on. Now we're just talking about old photos, but we're gonna start talking the Salem witches here real soon, and oh, so you named your daughter after your sister. Oh, that's sweet. I like that. That's very sweet. Oh. Oh, before you even saw the Oh, woo! I got goosebumps. That's like man, that's like meant to be, right? I love that. That's a good story. Alright. And now you'll see when your daughter's all grown up, you'll know what your sister as it's like genetics, it's so funny. Like I said, like my son, I think he he even sounds like my brother once in a while, like, and I'm just it's just odd because he actually my brother is technically my half brother, even though we grew up in the same house and everything, so I just call him my brother. I don't make a um he's just my brother. And then I see my son, right? Like I see certain expressions and I'm just like, "Oh my god, he's just like the same. How does that happen?" Right? But it's very cool. And then in a younger sister that looks like a C. Smith. It's so like I love having I love photography. I love having the old family photos. If somebody pulls say I had a cousin who her mother who would have been great aunt of mine, she passed away and she was going through all of her stuff. So when somebody passes away, right? Like It always comes down to, like, going through all the boxes of there's always gonna be boxes of old photos and photo albums, and when that stuff happens and when that's going down, I'm usually there to volunteer for that because I wanna help go through those things. Those are like I said, I love going through the photos. And I do my make my copies, like, I have, I don't know if you guys, for those of you interested, I dropped my phone somewhere here on the phone, but there are apps that you could get. I gotta shift, my butt's getting tired on this chair. There are apps that you can download for your phone that work really well to take, photos of photos, and they look almost. Actually, I've had some that have turned out better than if I had scanned the images, like, using a scanner. They look just as good. I recommend one of those if you're ever get to the point, like, a lot of people don't want you taking, like, the old family photos. Like, with my grandma, right? She knows I'm gonna bring them back. A lot of times she just gives them to me too, like, just tells me to they're gonna be mine someday. She just says, "Take them," and so I have them. But especially, like, cousins and things, they're probably like, I don't know if I want you to take off with these." So, it's a good thing to have on your phone if you want to, get these get copies of the photos without actually taking the photos, and they work really well. I think the one I have is, I think it's, like, just called PhotoScan, and I have a Samsung Galaxy, so it's, in the Android app store. I'm sure they have one for iPhone too, but it's just one that I have used it a lot. Like, it's probably one of my more used apps, um, and I I don't have too many, my dad is really into photography. I would call him a photographer. He's not a professional photographer, but he knows everything. Like, if I have a question, he's usually who I go to. So, he's got all the stuff where you can take the negatives and make copies from them. I just don't come across a whole lot of negatives. And honestly, when it comes to, um, most of them, I would just rather take like, use the scanner app, like the photo scan app. I would just rather use that to take a photo of the photo, right? And, like, the photo app, it'll line it up, like, the one that I use anyway, it'll take it in quadrants, so you'll take 4 separate pictures of the photograph, and then it puts all 4 together, and then it gives you a nice clean shot, so you don't have a reflection from your flash, and it looks just like it got scanned. So, I highly recommend getting one of those. It's they're priceless when you're, sitting with your cousins or, like, say you go to a family reunion or something and people are like, they bring their photo albums, you might not see these people again, so they're probably not gonna give you access to let you take their photos or whatever. So, it's a good idea to have something like that on your phone, and it does, just I don't know how many people have tried to take a photo of a photo, just straight up outright, but they usually turn out kinda wonky looking, and the scanner app won't. You'll get pretty nice photos that way, and I thought I saw something hang on here. Um, but yes, Little Misfit, you can do that. There are some I don't know where you can take them anymore to do that though. Um, like, do I haven't taken photos to be developed in so long. Like, if I want a photo, I just print them off, on my printer, but, um oh, yeah, here's something Jen said. Um, yeah, that's what I like, with especially with when you see these have you guys ever heard of, there's an old saying that oh, I hope I get this right because I don't wanna say it wrong because it is one thing I always think about, right? Like, a person has 3 deaths. they when you initially die, that's your first death, and then your second death is when everyone who knows you has died, and the third death is when no one speaks your name any longer. And I don't know what it is about that, like, even like, I get a little, um, I don't know, there's, like, emotion to that, right? Like, I get a little emotional because you think about that, like, people so when I go through, cemeteries or, uh, going through old photos, say the people's names, right? So they're not really you let them know that somebody still knows, still is here. You might not know them, but you say their name and they're not forgotten. And like when I walk through the cemetery, I usually try to pick I got a couple that I say hi to all the time. Like I've got um a few, and I don't know why in particular that I gravitate towards these headstones for whatever reason. And I'll like there's one, her name is Florence. I think she went by Flo. That's just what I think, and so when I walk by her headstone past her grave, I'm always like, "Hey, good morning, Flo," or, afternoon, whatever, and she died in, like, 1912 or something, so she probably would have been a kind of a proper lady. So, like, I always make sure I'm kinda proper when I talk to her, but, um, yeah, I try to like, when I'm going through, like, I read the headstones because I think of that? I don't yeah, I always just think of that. I think there's more to that saying, and I will look it up and I'll bring it back when and make it's probably and take my sage. Um, I was gonna get my sage out tonight just because I think that's what keeps happening with StreamYard. I think a demon is getting in there, and I was actually if it messed up tonight, I was gonna do some, but, I don't know where it's somewhere here in my house, and just don't know where, but so, yeah. So, if you guys wanna do something really sweet, that means that it will make you feel better. Just if you go through a cemetery, you might not know them, just go up to their headstone and say, "Hey, Paul," just say their name. That's just I know it sounds weird, uh, but let them know that we haven't forgotten them. I know, I'm getting really emotional. I'm gonna stop now. Um, but yeah, people think you're really weird when you do that. Oh, this is what I wanted to show you guys. So we talked yeah, and thank you, Paul. Thank you for your service. Paul, ugh, he's a pushover, isn't he? Poor Paul. And all right, so I told you guys about my ghost story, right? I need to make this really big, so hang on. And I'm probably gonna do it wrong. I'm either gonna make the photo really big or I'm gonna be really big. So, let's see which one happens. Uh-oh. Actually, I have no choice. I can't make it big. Oh, wait, nope, maybe this one. Nope, here it is. Alright. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. So, I was telling you guys my ghost story about the little boy who lived here that, um, on Sunday night, Sigmund, who is the little boy that we think is, um here, or I'm pretty sure he's here. This is his headstone, and as you can tell, it's beat to hell. There is a on the right-hand side here is a giant, oak tree, and you can see there's, like, leaves all over here. Uh, about 10 or so years ago, one of the branches fell out of the tree and landed on his headstone and broke it. But it wasn't done very well in the first place. There are you can't see from this photo like, I went through the cemetery today so that I could take a photo for you guys and show it, but this is where he's buried. This is the cemetery just down the road from me, and this is the little boy who died here on our farm that we think we still see, and I want to eventually one of the things I want to do with one of the places I wanna go with the channel, I actually want to here, I'll let me pop my I don't wanna be too big. Alright, there, that's good enough. I would like to replace this headstone at some point. Like, so I'd like to if we find these, like this one this means something to me just because I know he died here on our farm, and I'm pretty sure he's not left. I think he's still here. And I part of the channel, something I'd like to do is to, like, maybe have, where if I ever get to the point where we have, like, memberships and things like that, I would like some of that to go to, like, purchasing headstones, like, either new headstones or maybe we hear a story about someone who doesn't have a headstone that needs one, and to purchase a stone or something for them. Like I said, I do have a cousin that works in that industry. So, I probably I we did try see, Smith, we did try to repair this, a few times. I've tried to repair it. It's just getting worse. There's no hope for it at this point. It's not a very well made headstone. There are big rocks on the inside. So what they did, they probably had a form for the stone, like for a mold, right? They put the rocks in it to take up extra space, so they probably didn't have to use so much, cement or concrete. I'm gonna say it's probably cement. It's like I said, it probably didn't cost that much to make, um, and especially with a big tree branch falling down on I mean, this is a big tree. I can get a photo. I'll get a photo of the tree next time too, and I mean, the branch that came down was a pretty good sized branch that hit it. It did just have that crack in the middle, but now there's one off to the side. The base is, yeah, the base is pretty damaged. I did ask my cousin what she thought, and she didn't think there was I mean, there's things we could probably I've kind of thought about it, like, I've seen some really old headstones that they've fixed. I don't know if you guys have gone to those cemeteries where you see the really old ones, right? Um, and they make a frame for them now, and some of them are metal, some of them are just like a wood frame. I don't I didn't really ask her if that was possible for this one, so maybe I will, or maybe I'll just I don't know. Maybe if anybody listens to this that knows somebody um, who knows about this kinda stuff, that would be in I mean, they can hit me up, and I would love to know if there's something I could, aggregate full fill. I think that's what it is. Um, oh, did you miss it last week? So, Sigmund died here on our farm, and we're pretty sure I told everybody my ghost story. Hi, Tiff. Welcome. We're talking about Sigmund again, the ghost boy. He died here on our farm. We believed for many, many years that we actually thought because we did have a dairy farm here for many years. We One of the stories was I don't know what you guys know about dairy farms or the cows. The boys are the bulls, the dairy cows, the Holsteins, they're evil. They're evil as all hell. You can't be around them. Like they're just they're ornery as hell. Um Most dairy farmers artificially inseminate their herds. They don't actually have a bull to do that. They're just dangerous to have around. So we thought because they did have a bull here, supposedly were told that Sigmund was killed by a bull. And I had asked my brother, and he said, yeah, that's the story he had heard too. But the dairy farm didn't start here until the late 50s, 60s, I think. So that was long after Sigmund had been killed. He was, it says on his death certificate, which I mean, we'll make a little story about Sigmund. I'll get his death certificate up, but he was accidentally shot in the head with a rifle. I don't know if it said hunting rifle. I think it just said rifle, and he died here. Um, he was, I think it says on his headstone, I think he was 12 at the time, but he was like just a week or so away from his birthday, uh, 13th birthday. So his headstone does say 13, that he was 13, but he actually was still 12. He was very close though. I mean, if you considered he did see 13 years, I guess if you wanted to be technical about it. I think his father, it was just his father and him. The wife, his Sigmund's mother had passed away. Like I did a whole genealogy on Sigmund when like I said, when I go down a rabbit hole, I go down a rabbit hole. And I did all of I looked up the family, and I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I I thought I had a pretty good grasp on Polish names and Slavic names, and I was told I didn't with this name, that I was really horribly mispronouncing it, so I'm just not gonna say it anymore. But it is, probably not how his father was an immigrant to this country, so this is probably not how his name was spelled in other countries, so it was a little hard for me to track down, like, exactly where his father came from, but he was supposed to be from Poland, so that's why I thought it was a Polish name. I think his father is buried here right beside him because there's, somebody buried here, but there's no headstone, and I think he passed away a few years after Sigmund did, but this was his only child that I know of. His wife had previously passed away when the family lived in Chicago, and it was just him and Sigmund, which was, really they his father worked on the family farm here. Sigmund probably did too. I mean, kids in those days, right? They worked. It's farm labor, um, and I don't think they lived too terribly far from here. I think they just kinda there used to be, like, a tiny little village. There's no village anymore. Um, Actually, where the cemetery is, that's where the old village was, but there's nothing but a church and a town hall now. But, I think that's probably where they lived at one time, but so it's a sad story. I don't know what the circumstances were. Like I said, when I told the ghost story, uh, there's no one around anymore that would have been alive then. Um, Sadly, this is one of 3 deaths that have happened, associated with people on this farm from gunshots, which freaks me out sometimes when I think about it. Um, the original owner of the Melissa, if you're here and I still can't see you after all that I did, the other day, I have no one blocked, but YouTube is still being stupid, I guess. But hi, Melissa. And oh, shoot, where was I? Oh, so the very first owner of this property, he was cleaning his gun. I don't know how I don't know how you clean your gun with when it's loaded, but he apparently was, and he shot himself and he died actually a couple days later. Hello, MJ. Yeah, I've been talking for a couple hours. We did Victorian death portraits, so I think we're kind of cleaning our brain out right now, just bleaching our brain with something. Well, I don't know. Sigmund's story is kind of sad, I guess. But, um, and I laugh because it's the only way I can deal with it. And um, and then Sigmund was the second person to be shot on died due to being shot, and then my grandfather also was shot on the property and died. So I don't know, it's not so good around here. Don't clean your gun with it loaded. I guess don't go play. I don't know what they were doing where poor Sigmund got in the way of it, but go back. I will tell the ghost story again. I don't wanna tell it tonight again just because we just did it Sunday. And it is my favorite one, and I'll probably have to sprinkle it throughout, um, here and there, but go back and listen to it. I think we talked about it, like, halfway through the last live, or maybe I don't remember. Oh, thank you, Tiff. I know it was washing day for my hair, so it's all, like, soft and fluffy right now. But, it says yeah, if you and you know what? This is my thought. These guys probably knew how to handle guns back in the day, right? Like, they had to have I mean, for all kinds of things, for hunting, for, foods for food and all of that. You think they know how to handle weapons, and I don't know what Sigmund's story was. I doubt he was cleaning a gun. I doubt that that's what it was, but just wonder maybe if he got in the way or I don't know. I wish I knew the whole story behind him, but yeah, he's the kid that, my nephew saw, who supposedly he looks like my son. My nephew When my nephew saw him, he saw him with a hole in his face. So, it's pretty creepy, and he's always been around here. Oh, okay, go wash your hair too, Ernie. Um, but yeah, he's been around here. He's, been a little quiet, but I don't think he's gone completely. I think he's still around. But so yeah, that is, yeah, it's pretty so I wish I knew, and maybe someday something will reveal itself that I'll know more about Sigmund, and when I do, I'll let you guys know because his story, I mean, he's not related to me, but I do feel like I kinda know him, and I know his headstone looks very sad, and I'm gonna fix it, and that's one of the things I wanna kinda, um, focus on is, like, maybe get his headstone fixed up and Um, any others that we happen to find that need some repairs, maybe get the right people on the job to get them taken care of because it's sad. I mean, he already had a sad life that was cut too short. It shouldn't look his headstone shouldn't look like this, but typically I have flowers planted. Um, but since my mom and I always took care of Sigmund's grave together, like, we planted flowers in the spring, and since my mom passed, I haven't been as proactive doing that on my own. Um, I've actually kind of, um, don't go to the cemetery as often because it's been hard. It's been kinda rough, but, I am gonna get back to Sigmund. I think I'm actually gonna take I have some irises that I dug up out of the yard. I think I'm gonna take and, um, put around the backside of the headstone to see actually, I probably need to, like, put a board or something up there because I think a big gust of wind is gonna come through there this winter, and that whole thing's just gonna go. It's just gonna fall over. It's bad. It's just gone from bad to worse. So, yeah. And I could talk forever on it, but yeah, like I said, usually we did have a planter that's like one of those long planters that sat in front of his headstone right in the front there, and, somebody stole it, and we'd go and, uh put we'd like whatever flowers, seasonal flower or whatever was going on, we'd always put those in there and, change them out, but then we showed up one day to put some new flowers in there. I think we were gonna put, like, some pansies or something like that, and, yeah, the whole thing was just gone. So and I did look around the cemetery to see, like, was somebody stupid enough to put this, like, on some you never know, right? Like, somebody stole it off his grave and then went and put it on theirs, but I am a firm believer if you steal shit from a cemetery, you ain't gonna be sleeping right for a while. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get visited, and I hope you do. I hope you do. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those, the dumb criminals who get caught stealing flower arrangements and reselling them. Well, if you haven't, I will find that story and I will bring it next time because, people do that. Apparently, they will go steal like, right after a funeral has taken place, they will and people leave the flower arrangements at the gravesite, people will go and steal those, and the one woman that I'm speaking about, she was a florist. She would go right after the funeral was done and steal the flowers back and then put them in new arrangements and sell them to the next people. It was pretty shitty. Yeah, and, she got in a lot of trouble. I can't remember what happened to her, but I think she did do some jail time or something. But all of that, whether it's legal or not legal, I don't care. If it is legal, you're Jesus doesn't like that kind of stuff. He does not want you stealing flowers or planters or urns. He doesn't want you doing it. Just don't. Leave that stuff alone, leave it there. And I'm also a big believer the only thing I will remove is, like, those old gross artificial flowers. Like, they've been there for, like, 20 years and they're don't even look like they're just, like, all dried out and gross looking, right? I have, like, taken those off, but then I will come back and I usually plant real flowers. Again, that was something my mom and I always did. Uh, she had, she had this weird knack for knowing who whose grave needed flowers planted on them. Like, she would go through the cemetery and go, "Oh, this guy" like, there was one guy, his name was Sylvester, and she said, "He needs some flowers." So the next time we had come out to my aunt's grave, we brought irises and we planted the bulbs out by his headstone, and this was the first year that they all came up and they all bloomed, and, my mom never got to see them bloom, but she did. I'm sure she saw them bloom. She's probably even talking to Sylvester on the other side, but I don't know how she decided. She just walked through and would be like, this person needs some irises, so or whatever. My mom was very big into gardening. I'm not the green thumb that she was, but I try my hardest. I'm very good with bulb plants, so I can plant irises and they'll take off and they'll be beautiful. Another one my mom was like hot pokers. I don't know if y'all know what those are, but they're really cool when they come up and they really do look like a hot poker. So, yeah, I if it's a bulb and I can plant it, it'll probably grow and it'll be fine, but other flowers, I usually put in a planter like my mom's, actually, I'm getting ready to take mom's over to hers probably tomorrow. Um, but popular what is it? The geraniums, you see those a lot at cemeteries. That's what I've got at my mom's right now, so I'll take those up. I don't know. Do those will those survive till next year? Tiff, you're a green thumb. If I bring in the, geraniums in the house for the winter, will they live and I can take them and put them back? Not that I'm cheap or anything, but, like, I don't wanna throw them out because 'cause they're still beautiful, they're still alive, so Oh, MJ, do you know? You guys know the geraniums, like, they're at every cemetery. Well, I don't know. My family seems to like to plant them because that's what, everybody has. And it seems to me like my grandma brought them in the winter, and then she took them back out to the cemetery in the spring. So, I don't know if they're one that stay going, but I don't think that's a bulb plant, and I'm probably not I'll probably kill it if I bring it. If it comes into this house, it is gonna die. Oh, are they hardy? Okay, well, maybe I won't kill it then. I've I had cactus. Uh, we had Charles and Camilla was our 2 cacti that we had, and, then my stepdad, he threw them out. I was so mad. They were huge too, and they bloomed. They got little flowers on the end of them. They were so cute. We dug them up out of our horse pasture in Colorado and brought them with us to, Michigan, and my kid loved them, and they just kept growing. Like, they were one of them looked like a little thumb when we first pulled it up, and like, it was huge. It was like a little barrel, and then the other one was or it was a tall cactus, and the other one was more like a little barrel cactus. But, yeah, he threw them out, and I was so pissed. Charles and Camilla, because 'cause they're prickly. Let's see what you guys are saying here. So, if their hardy is yeah, or should I should I plant them? Should I plant them there? They're in a, the what do you call at the cemetery, the planters, the big heavy cement things, right? Like, the ones you can't steal, which that's probably why they have those is so people don't steal them. You can't steal them as easy as you can the little cheapo one that I had over by Sigmund because those they really yeah, that one went fast. They could only stayed there a couple weeks. Oh, I'm sorry, girl Ryan. Sorry for your loss. 2 little oh, see? And, so I spend a lot of time at the cemetery, and I got another project, uh, probably talk about that next time. I think I'm probably starting to run out of time here too with I don't know how much of the Salem witches I'm gonna get to, but we'll get to some of it. Um, that they were stealing the bronze markers off of the veterans' graves, like the ones that were part of the Grand Army of the Republic, and they say GAR on them. And these were primarily your soldiers from the Civil War, World War One. I don't know if the World War II vets got it. I think it was just up till World War One, maybe. I should look it up. But they had a little bronze star, five-pointed star, then it said GAR on it, and it was I think you had to be a member of it to have one of the stars, but you had to be a veteran. And, like, my great-grandmother's brother served in right at the end of World War One, he served in, he was part of an expedition force to Russia where he got frostbite, he got hit with mustard gas, he ended up contracting tuberculosis. Like, it was like, these guys came back all kinds of messed up. Like, they called them the polar bears because they were in Russia and it was freaking cold. And most of them came from Michigan here. So most of them there's like a memorial over by Detroit for them, and it's a big polar bear with like a helmet, and it's really cool. I could do a story about them too sometime, but he had his still because where my great-great-grandparents are buried, he's buried with them. He's kinda tucked down in a little, like, little hollow at the cemetery. So his bronze star was there, but I finally went down and took it out, and I still am a little creeped out to have it, but I went and got one of they give you a little plastic one now to put by the grave because nobody's gonna steal the plastic ones, but they were going through and stealing those little bronze markers because it's bronze, and it was money, and, uh, pretty sure there's a special place for you somewhere. And I'm pretty sure you're not I don't know, I like to think that they're probably gonna have a lot of nightmares or something until they go put that stuff back, but if they've sold it and stuff, I don't know. Like I said, just leave it there. Leave it at the cemetery. Don't be digging up stuff and yeah. But that was a common one, especially if you're stealing from the veterans' graves. That takes a whole 'nother level of assholeness. Um, and let's see. Oh, oh, I missed some of your guys' comments. I really got into that one. I do get really ticked off, and there are a lot of, I see a lot of those bronze markers, and I just get so worried that they're just gonna get stolen, but, um, let's see what you guys have to say on the geraniums. Keep in a south-facing window. Okay. I got one of those. Only I think I only have one in this house, though. Alright. Geraniums will come back. And full or partial sun. It gets at the cemetery, it's getting, like, partial sun because my mom does have a tree that we had she's buried next to, my grandpa, and we had planted, like, a little red maple tree, and oddly enough, my mom loved red maples, so it kinda worked out. Um, I don't know if that's where she wanted to be, but it's where she is. So, it actually kinda worked out nice that she's got that little tree there. I want to she was a huge New York Yankee fan, like, huge, and I want to, like, put some blue lights or something on the tree. Uh, I've I've gotten yelled at a couple times now by my stepdad because he said, "You can't do that at a cemetery," and I was like, "Whatever." I've seen some really crazy stuff on graves. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Like Star Z, she sent me a video from TikTok where this a pet cemetery, and these people were decorating their kitty's grave with for Halloween, and I thought that was so damn sweet. And like, I just think about it and I cry, and I kind of wanna. I never thought I was gonna be that kind of person. Like, I didn't think I was gonna decorate. Like, I don't know. I never thought I was gonna do that, but now I'm kind of like my mom loved Christmas, so she loved Halloween too, but, I think if I put a skeleton down there, because we bought this, every Halloween, we bought, a new skeleton to put to do something with, right, for Halloween decorations, and she bought this one, we named him Hank. He wears a pair of bib overalls, he comes out September 1st, and he sits by the front door, until usually Christmas. And one year he sat out there till, St. Patrick's Day, and I just swapped out the hat that he was wearing. So for Christmas, I put a Santa hat on him. The UPS guy and the Amazon delivery guy thought it was freaking hilarious, and all of our photos, like when they take the the picture, right? Like they take the photo of your delivery, they would set all the packages in Hank's lap. So all the so when we got a delivery, yeah, you can see, Hank and all of them. It was really funny. Uh, but yeah, so I kinda thought, "Well, maybe I should go put Hank down at the cemetery," but then I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know, though, people." Um, it might freak some people out. So Hank is still here on my front porch, because I don't think people would wanna I don't yeah. I mean, if it was just me, and cemeteries are getting a little there some cemeteries anyway. Now, I know some don't let you have artificial flowers, which I'm actually for that. Like, I don't mind them as long as they pick them up. Like at the usually starting rule of thumb is kind of Memorial Day or just before Memorial Day, you go and you put your flowers out. And then right about October 1st ish, before well, at least in Michigan, before it starts to snow, because anywhere after October, it can snow. And you go out and you take everything up that you have. So if you have artificial flowers, they'll get taken up, and a lot of times the cemetery will just take them up for you. So if you leave stuff on the ground, they're just gonna, um, Oh, Mia, don't fall asleep at the wheel. Here, we'll keep you awake. Do you want me to sing to you? Because that keeps everybody awake. I'm not. No, I can't. I can't. I can't sing. But it's funny to think that I could. But what was it? I lost my train of thought again. I might not be getting to Salem tonight, guys, because I'm now off on a cemetery discussion. But yeah, some cemeteries will just go through and pull up everything from around the graves. So if you leave, um, like people put out wreaths and all kinds of stuff, right? They'll just go through and pull everything off of the graves. But I've noticed that even the one that I go to quite frequently, they haven't been doing that, and it's probably a cost thing. They probably don't have people to do the pickups so much anymore, but I wouldn't put anything on there. If there's something you're putting on the grave, I would like by October 1st, I would go take them off. Like I've got some little chicks, like these little metal chicks that I put by my mom's because she loved her chickens. So I'll go pull those up here. I'll probably do it when I get her geranium and put her mums out there. I'll pull those up, but just so they don't get screwed up with the snow and stuff. But yeah, that's about all the decoration I did. My mom didn't like that stuff either. And I really get creeped out by those little, the lights, the little solar lights. Those things are trippy. When you drive past the cemetery and you just see these little lights out there. Oh, maybe it's just me. I just like I'm looking out there. I don't know if they're those little lights, but I mean they're kind of cute, but then they're also kind of creepy. And I oh, what which national cemetery do you have by you, MJ? I don't the closest one to me is like I think it's about an hour and a half from me. Is the closest national cemetery, but I wanted to if I could get my phone, which is fell down on the floor here. Uh, I'll pull them up for next time, but it's one of the projects that I wanted to work on. So I think I've told you guys in the past that I do headstone cleaning, like a lot of the older headstones. I think we talked, or maybe it was on OBs we were talking about. I think she wanted to clean a memorial plaque. Maybe that's why we were talking about it. But like at the national cemeteries, if you ever see something from Arlington Cemetery, like how pristine those headstones look, they are beautiful. Like they are beautiful white, they're marble, right? Like it is just an amazing sight. I went to Arlington once and I really wish really want to go back. Like we happened to drive by, we got out, we took some photos, that was about all we could do. So I'd like to go back when I can just walk through it, but I was kind of disappointed when we had our big memorial every Memorial Day. The band comes out, the marching band comes out, they play, and we have like this. It's the same guy. Like I shouldn't even say anything because he might watch this, but there's a guy that sings every year, and I wish he would stop singing because it's just not. It makes me feel very anxious when he starts to sing, and I just wish he kind of, I just would just talk. He's a speaker and not a singer, but then he sings, and it's creepy. Okay, uh, something else. But I did notice how shabby like our headstones are looking at my local cemetery for the veterans. Like we have one little section, and it's where the veterans are buried. Like a lot of them are Civil War vets, like on one half of it. I think I have a short. Yeah, there's a short with the veterans headstones. They are looking grungy, and I look at Arlington, and then I look at some of the other national cemeteries, and they're pristine. They use a product, called D2, and it's a biological I think I'm saying that biological drug or drug, not a drug, cleaner. and you just spray it on and you leave it. So you don't have to scrub. I usually, when I clean, I will, like, if there's any, like, of the, like, the thick stuff, like, you could just kinda brush off. I do have a real soft brush that I'll use to, like, just kinda right, like, get that stuff off. That way, when you spray the cleaner on there, it's getting to the surface, right? Like, it's there, it doesn't have to go through any layers of, um, usually what's the green stuff that, not mold, but, like, lichen, I think it is, that starts to grow up around on the headstones. So, I usually will wipe that stuff off, but I use a very, very soft bristle brush. Like, you could go like this on your hand. Yeah, lichen. And it's not gonna hurt, right? So it's that soft, like, you could brush your skin with it, it's not gonna hurt. So, don't use anything if you were to rub it on your hand and it hurts, don't use it on a headstone. That's my rule of thumb. I just use real soft ones. Sometimes I'll, and moss too, Tiff, moss will get all, especially, like, in the little letters and, like, the name, and then I do have, like, a little spatula looking thing that I will, like, kinda pick it out, but I don't get aggressive with it, like, it's just to kinda get the chunk out, right? And then I just spray it and let that product do its work, and it is so crazy. I'll have to, like, show you guys, uh, all my before and afters. I was going through my Google Photos trying to find the memorial pictures for Salem for the witch trials, and I found all of my headstone cleaning photos too, so I was, like, super excited, but I didn't download any of them, and I probably should have done a couple, but yeah, so the product is called D2, but it is kind of expensive. So that's another thing too that, like, I would probably put funds and stuff towards doing, just some headstone cleaning, especially for veterans. I think they deserve to have clean headstones. I don't know why the ones in my local cemetery are looking so shabby. Uh, I cleaned, was it last, not last year, the year before, I had found one, he was a Marine that had served in Vietnam, and there's no other family around him. Like, I did do a little, so when I look at these headstones, I usually look into who they were, if they've got family or whatever, because 'cause I'm a nosy person, and Ancestry usually will tell me just about everything I want to know. So, I looked him up. He didn't have any family in the area. He was just, I don't know exactly what brought him to the South Haven area, but he was living there. But he only lived, like, about 5 or so years after he got out of the Marines from Vietnam, and his headstone is one of the flat marble ones that lay just flat on the ground, and I had walked up there to clean a different headstone, and for whatever reason, I stopped, and I was like, "God, that thing looks so and then I realized it's a veteran's headstone, like, I realized it's a military headstone, and I'm like, "Okay, that can't be." Like, it was horrible, and I don't even know if, when they put the flags out every year, he didn't have a flag, and I think because the stone was so dirty and so gross that they probably missed the fact that he was a veteran and he didn't get a flag out that year. So I brought one for him and put it there after, but I got his stone. I got all the gunk off. I don't know what it was. It was like some kind of, I don't know if it was like a sap or something from like one of the trees, but it was pretty thick. It took probably 3 or 4 times of like spraying it down with the D2 stuff to get it to come clean, and it still does have a little bit of a stain on it, and I'll show you guys. I'll show you his that photo, but it turned out so good, and guess what? Last year and this year, he's had a flag for on his, headstone that I didn't have to put there because they didn't miss him, and usually, I so I did a big veterans project, and getting way off track again. I did a huge veterans project for, for one of our local towns here. They wanted to find all of their veterans from that have served from all through American history. They wanted to know who they all were. And that was as a genealogist, that's what I did. So I had to go I think I ended up with, like, 823 veterans from just this little town, and really, it's just kind of a ghost town now. There's not much to it anymore. It would have been, like, a huge lumber town, like, way back in the day, so there were way more people. There were way more people back in, at one time, so there were more people serving, you have a bigger area, so a lot of people served, but as the years went on, the town got a little smaller and then less people served, but there were several, like we had a couple, we didn't have any Revolutionary War soldiers that I found, but we did have 3 or 4 that were War of 1812, and then we had a lot of Civil War veterans. So it was my job to identify all of them and the things I had to do. Like, I had so many resources and I only had 2 months to do it, because they wanted to unveil it on Memorial Day, and they had to have all the names, like, I think it was, by, like, March 1st or something, and I only started, like, right at the end of, or actually, I think I started right at the beginning of January. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to do it, but I did manage to I did a pretty damn good job. I think I only missed maybe, like, 2 or 3, and that's just because people didn't get back to me, uh, very quickly when I asked them, "Hey, was your grandpa did he serve? Because we want to get him on the memorial if he did," and then they wouldn't get back to me, and then it was too late by the time they did. So those were the only ones that we really missed, but I did work with the VFW on this in the town, and I asked them about, "Well, we need to really get, like, I would like to see that now that we know where they're all buried, that maybe you guys step up and help. Let's clean the headstones, and I'll be there. I'll help you. I'll find some people that'll come and help you. I'll show you how to do it." And I actually found, these gentlemen are gonna try to think of their organization name. They are Sons of the Union, I think, but they're all descendants of, soldiers from the Union Civil War soldiers. And so they have, like, their little club, and they go around and they show people how to clean, the military headstones. And I contacted these people, and I had them all set to come out and show us, and then it just kinda went like, as soon as the memorial was done, that was, that was where the interest ended, and I was so disappointed because, like, I stayed up I don't know how many late nights working on that project, and, yeah, I kinda had hoped that it would go a little bit further. So and I've gone down usually, like, the VFW and the Legions, usually they have a list because 'cause they're the ones that usually go out and place those, like, the veterans flags for, Memorial Day, and they usually have a list, but they also have volunteers. A lot of times, yes, it is the, um Boy Scouts will come help. We do it, I'm a member of the Daughters of the American Revolution because I am descended from well, officially, I am now descended from 2 Revolutionary War patriots because I just got my 2nd one approved last week, so I'm pretty excited about that. But organizations like that, like patriotic organizations, I guess you could say, is what we fall under, that we try to do things like that that is part of when I clean headstones, I turn my hours in for my service hours for my chapter. So it kind of helps them out to get some recognition. So that is really I mean, I've tried to like kind of get some people excited about it, but I do have a bunch of before and afters because I am gonna turn them in, for a project for the DAR so that I can, um they do state awards, so I'm gonna see if I can get an award for it. Everybody keeps telling me to do it, so I'm just gonna do it. But, yeah, so I have before and afters. I have some where, like, I've done some restoration to them as well, like, I've dug around them and cleaned them up and repositioned stones. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to lift a headstone. They're not light. So, um, I've had people come out and help me, like, we've put them back up, like, where they're supposed to be and stuff, so, uh, eventually, I would love to, like, have a team or something that, like, we could go do things like that, other people that are interested in even if it's just other people doing it at their own local cemeteries, I'll still do it myself, but, yeah, yeah, Tiff, I long story short, I've tried with the VFW. They will give you, they've given me flags before. Like I've stopped at the one where I know the guys and they'll give me a handful of flags because I'll be like, hey, I noticed a couple of the veterans, like either their flags, sometimes, they'll get knocked over, um, especially when the people they hire to mow the lawns, they don't pay them a lot. So they don't sometimes do a very good job. So sometimes things get knocked over or ran over with a lawnmower, pretty frequently, and I've gone down and asked, they'll give me, like, a handful of flags to take down, and I'll put flags back out on their headstones, but yeah, but when it comes to actually getting them out there to do that stuff, they don't really seem to yeah, they don't seem as interested. It'd be nice if they did, but yeah. Um, so you so Ernie, you wanna be part, that's fine. We could have different chapters all over the country. So, I will still like I said, whether I'm alone or I have a group of people, I'll still keep doing what I'm doing. I love like, I don't know why I like doing it so much, but yeah. And, well, I have a system. So, I have a little stool that I bring with me, and it is awesome. It's got a little cushy seat on it, and I can sit down it even after my knee surgery, I could still, clean headstones, and I do like the taller headstones, though. I don't like the real flat ones on the ground because, yeah, those take you gotta kinda bend over them a little bit, um, but yeah, and, chapters, yeah, we'll have to think of a cool name for the group. But, yours is Dear Johnny, okay. Anybody who wants to join Ernie's chapter, it's gonna be you're gonna be the is it gonna be the Dear Johnnies? I kinda like that. And, yeah, that's just I don't know. It's I'm a creepy girl. I'm fine with that. Like I said, I'm the reason you keep the lights on. Alright. Should I just touch base a little bit on the Salem? I'm going for almost 3 hours. My throat's getting a little sore. So, should I just maybe go over it real quick and then I'll when I come back Sunday night, we'll just kinda pick up where I leave off today. Um, since I did wear my Salem shirt and it seems horrible that I'm not gonna talk about it, I probably need to just mention it a little bit, maybe just a little bit. Or I could just save it for Sunday and we can talk more about cleaning stones. I got to, yeah, you could I wish I had loaded some of my photos, but like I said, sometimes StreamYard, like I will get all of these photos loaded up and when it has its stroke, all my stuff goes. And then I have to reload all the photos and then I'll forget which ones I had sometimes. And yeah, it's just yeah, and with yeah, attention issues, I sometimes forget, but I will how about I show you the photos that I have for Salem, and then I won't have to reload these for next time. So, because I might forget to load these. Because it did take me a while to get these damn things on here. And I have, let me make myself much, much smaller. I'm just gonna, boop, there you go. So I think probably everybody knows about the Salem witch trials. It's probably a pretty well known, unfortunate period in our history. And I mean, I think we've all seen, I don't even know how many documentary I've watched, probably every single stupid documentary, not stupid. I've seen so many documentaries. And there's so much information in my brain. I think I have like 20 books. Like every time I go to Salem, I find a new book that I think I gotta have. This is now I didn't edit these pictures. I just downloaded them straight from my Google Drive because it kept deleting them. So I was just taking a chance. I just wanted to get them out. But and Ernie, we do need to make this. I pay 45 bucks a month and this StreamYard it's pissing me off. All right. This is the memorial for the witch hysteria, which is what I think is what they're calling it, like a PC term for it now, right? It's because we know witches aren't real. These women weren't really witches. They were or and men. So to call it a witch trial when they weren't really witches isn't quite right. So witch hysteria is usually what I like to call it because it does seem because they were hysterical. They were crazy. These people, I don't know what bugs got up their butt. Actually, I have a pretty good idea why. Misogyny could be is another. Yeah, yes. There's a few things that all kind of collide when it comes to what happened, and I don't know how many people know this, but now the trials happened in Salem, but most of the accused didn't come from Salem. Salem Village, that you hear quite a bit about, is actually Danvers. So it is not Salem proper. They called it Salem Village, and I'll pop up a little, I think this is the map. But this is the witch monument, and I'll come back to this because it's really pretty. This is what Salem Village was. This is in 1692, so that's when the witch trials started. And all of this, so essentially everything in that dark solid line, that was what is Salem Village. That is what Danvers is now. And Salem, if you were to look on here, I don't know how well you guys can see it. I can't see it. I'm going to have to pop it up bigger on my screen because I can't really see it either. But Salem is actually, where the hell is it on here? Way over here. So if you look over here, like you see the water down here in the lower right-hand corner where it looks like a freaky little hand, like sticking out down there at the bottom. That's where Salem is. So Salem Village is way up here, and Salem Town is way down here. Well, they're really not that far apart, but you can see the difference. So Danvers is Salem Village. And it was probably a good idea for them to change the name because it is a little confusing. But Danvers has quite a few. This is where if you hear about the Putnams, especially Anne Jr. She was one of the accusers. She was one of the principal accusers. Her father, Thomas, was also an accuser, and he had his reasons. Uh, oh, who just popped in? I don't know who. I can't tell by your screen name. Hi. Hopefully, you'll tell me who you are, so I'll know you are, so I can say hi to you since I can't see the darn names anymore. My butt's starting to hurt, guys. But there's the map, and I'll show you some. So Danvers, this is the this is this memorial is I think this is beautiful. Like they did such a good job. It's just amazing. It's beautiful. So they got the Book of Life. Somebody placed is this about Halloween? Um, no, but it's about witches. It's in that general theme of spooky stuff, but part of the and this is at Danvers, so this used to be Salem Village, and this is kind of the creepy part. They actually had yeah, it's spooky stuff, right? This is, the shackles. I'm these are not original, but this is what while you were waiting in prison for your trial, this is what you would have had on you. You were chained to the floor and how you move like, you couldn't move very far. And I don't prison or jail back in those days, so your family, even though you were in jail against your will, you didn't get to get out, right? Like, you're in there. Your family was responsible for coming and feeding you. And you were charged for your room and board essentially when you were in jail. So, in order to like even if you weren't accused and you're sitting there in jail, right? You got your shackles on, you're sitting there. I don't even want to know what the toilet situation was. It probably was very unhygienic. I can only imagine. They probably fleas, rotten straw, like, I'm just thinking some really bad, nasty, right? Like, it could not have been very nice. And all of that, and yet they're gonna charge you, and they're gonna charge your family for the pleasure of staying in their jail. So, when you get accused, you go up and they go, "Oh, you're not a witch, you're fine. We're gonna let you go." Well, guess what? They don't just let you loose. You gotta stay in jail until your family comes and pays for you, like, pays up what is owed for you to have stayed there. Like, it's not a Hilton, right? It's not, a nice Airbnb by any stretch of the imagination, right? It and they're probably not even getting I can't even imagine what they're eating there. Probably broth or maybe not even that. I just can't I'm sure I'll sure I could probably find what they fed them, but it's not gonna be appetizing, and I don't even know if I wanna know that much. But, I mean, they're in some hellish this is not a pleasant situation, right? It's cold. They're probably in damn rags. I don't even want to, um I would actually stone soup. Sea I would put this probably from what I've read about the Salem jail. Some of them were in, I think a few of them were in the Boston jail. So that doesn't mean it was any better. Jail was jail. It was pretty shitty back in the day. They're not nice accommodation rights, but you were charged for being there, which blows my mind, right? Like it still shocks me. So they f they say, "Okay, good, you're not a witch. You can go now." And yet you're still sitting there in jail until your poor family can get enough money to come and pay for your way out. And if your family is poor, which oh, did I mention when you get accused of witchcraft, they come in and they seize all your property. So, I don't know how you're supposed to get money when they've taken all your stuff away. Like, you have no property left anymore. They've seized your home, your land, anything in your home. So, your bed, your chamber pot, everything, your animals, your pigs, your chickens. It's all theirs now. It's no longer yours. Guess what? You're probably not going to get it back either. There there's not, like, restitution. I think it took them, like, oh, what was it? I wanna say it was, like, 10 or 15 years after, or maybe even longer than that, they actually did get a little restitution. I think they got 3 sovereigns, or maybe a sovereign apiece. There's a movie, I'll link it. You have to watch it. It's really dry, it's really boring, but it is probably a pretty darn good, characterization of what it was like. It has a few famous people in it, but it's still really dry, but I highly recommend it. It's called, Three Sovereigns for, is it Sister Sarah? I think it's sister, or just maybe just for Sarah, but Sarah was one of the accused. Her sisters were, let me get this right. I think Rebecca Nurse. Well, we'll get to that. I won't break my brain now because she'll come up further down. But so anyway, she had to, after she was acquitted, she had to sit in jail till her husband had enough money to come and get her out of jail and pay for her room and board, essentially, right? And it's really 3 mules for Sister Sarah? No, it's not. It's 3 sovereign. They didn't give her a mule. Yeah. But like I said, so if you were acquitted, or if, like, it it pretty much ended when you were accused. Everything you had was gone. You weren't gonna have, uh, you weren't gonna probably have the ability to pay off your jail fees, and probably, especially some of these ladies, when you see who some of them were, you're gonna know why they got picked. And when I say that a lot of them, so they're not all women, there were some men, but a lot of the women that were accused were, the women in town that you just kinda, um, the weird ones. Like, I prop even now, even though I wash my hair and, take kind of okay care of myself, I'd still probably be that weird woman in the village that I'm definitely I'm definitely getting accused. I'm pretty sure my neighbors now think I'm a witch, but, uh, Tiff, I think we're thinking of a different movie. I think we're thinking of a different one. I will find it for Sunday night, and I'll pop it up for, I don't know, maybe I could show part of it. It's a really old movie. I don't think anybody would care if I played, like, a little bit of it or something, but like I said, it's probably pretty darn close to what, I mean, pretty pretty close to what actually happened, and if you think about it, it's just really what these, what these women had to endure just because they were different. And when you look at, and yeah, C. Smith. So yeah, we've got, you got herbal witches, right? You've got these women, especially for that day and era, they didn't have doctors, right? And some of these women were midwives. They were helping birth the babies, and what if the mother died? Oh my god, the midwife killed her, she's a witch, right? Like, these were some scary times. Like, you didn't really even probably have to do a whole lot. Like, if you were walking, so this is why, so I don't know how many of you guys do this, but I mutter a lot. Um, like when I'm in, the grocery store, and what I need is on a shelf, like, way up high, and I'm like, I'm muttering, like, "Why the hell is it way up there?" And that would get you probably accused in Salem, that would get you accused of being a witch because 'cause you're muttering to yourself and you're being weird, so therefore, you're in league with the devil, right? So, but a lot of these women would have been, like, you're healers, right? What you would think would be a healer, so they knew the herbs to pick, right? They help people feel better, but when you make people feel better, what if somebody doesn't get better? Did you do that on purpose? So you're a witch if you can't make them live, right? Like if you can't heal them, you killed them, so you're a witch. And if you heal them, you're probably still a witch. So there's really no winning. And, honestly, there probably was at this point in history in Salem, there was really no winning for a lot of these women. There was so much prejudice going on. Um, there's so many misconceptions, like, I can't even, I think I know where I want to start with these guys, and I think I'll just start like, maybe I'll just go over, like, the common misconceptions first, and then we can start getting into some of their personal stories. Um, a lot of them don't have a lot of stories to tell. Maybe I'll tell the real easy ones first, but like I said, like, when I go through the cemetery and I say their names, maybe by saying their names now, like, they'll somebody will remember them so that there's, never forget, right? And this is from the Danvers Memorial, and I thought this was so nice. Like I said, this is a really how they did this memorial is really nice. And Martha Corey says, "I am an innocent person. I never had to do with witchcraft since I was born. I am a gospel woman." So a lot of these people, I mean, these women were they were Christians, but this is Puritan Christianity, and their idea of their right and wrong is pretty much black and white. It's one or the other. There's no gray area. Um, yeah, and these women would have been yeah, a little this is good right here. They're supposed to be submissive and slaves, right? They just had women weren't you didn't talk, you didn't speak up for yourself, women didn't own property. If your husband died, you were probably looking for hoping another one would pop up somewhere, right? Like, ideally, you're gonna get married as soon as possible because to be married, you're protected. To not be married it was not a good thing, and especially this day and age, they'd be wondering like, "Well, why don't you want to why isn't she married? What's wrong? Is she a witch?" Right? Everything's gonna make you a witch. And go here. Um, so and this also like, when I think of the submissiveness, I think of the girls, that were doing the accusing. You've watched any of oh gosh, I'm trying to think. History Channel did a really good one on the Salem witch trials, and it was so good. It was so crazy good. I loved it. Watched it. I don't know how many times already. Like I'll probably watch it again before Sunday just to get a refresh. But the fact that these women had to be submissive, their opinions weren't valued, right? The men ruled the society. And the fact that these young girls, probably for the first time ever, people were listening to them. So it makes you wonder, right? Like, well, I, at least my thinking, these young girls, this is probably the only time in their life that people are going to actually listen to them and care what they're saying. So no matter what, even if the people they're accusing of being witches are going to be hanged. I think that was a small price for them to right? Like they're like, well, I'm getting listened to. I've got a pretty darn dismal life. A lot of these women, right? Like, especially can you imagine growing up as a young girl in these households, right? Like, your only thing to do was to probably learn how to cook and clean and sent to your future husband. And that probably would have been pretty early in your life. It's not like an 18-year-old thing, right? Like you're probably going to be married far sooner than that. But that was all you really had to look forward to. So all these young girls that were pointing fingers and making accusations, I think this was the one time, and I think they knew that. Like this is the one time that all these people are listening to us right now, and it's never going to happen again. And that is one of the reasons I think that this kind of got out of hand the way that it did. It was really it was crazy. And oddly enough, so Martha was actually turned in by her own husband. Um, which don't worry, he also then got accused of being a witch too. So I guess be careful if you're trying to get your wife accused of being a witch, because at some point that might just come back at you. Because it did for her husband Giles. So it wasn't a safe time for anybody, man or woman. Yes, more women were hanged than men, but there were several men that also were victims. And let's see, where do I want to? I'm trying to find a nice place where I can just kind of, maybe I should go. Should I just do the common? I'll just do the common misconceptions real quick because I see this a lot. Like when we're talking about witches, uh, they're not they're not real witches. Okay. um, so in America, in the United States, we hanged our witches, or a few of them were drowned, but we never burned witches at the stake in this country, even at the very, very, very beginning of the forming of our country. Burning at the stake was a wholly European thing. That was what they did. That is not a practice that was ever practiced in this country. So to say that, I hear it a lot, even with Salem, when they talk about it, they might not have just had a lot of firewood, Tiff. I mean, they probably wanted to keep the firewood so they could, winters in New England, right? It had to get hella cold. They were probably saving their firewood, and it was expensive too. Like, so that could be a very good reason why. Like, um, the pastor for the church, part of their payment was firewood to keep the parsonage warm. So, and that was part of their payment. So it probably had something to do with the fact that firewood, or uh, I really didn't find a really good reason why it was hanging versus burning, but it was just kind of what we did here. Either way, it's pretty freaking awful. I think burning at the stake, if I remember correctly, I think they say you actually die from the smoke inhalation long before you even burn. So I don't know if I'd rather go that way, or to be honestly, I don't want to go any of the ways, but maybe burning is a little more. If you're just done and over, I don't know. I'm gonna get off that subject because we're going to go back to Victorian times talking about death so much. But so none of our witches were burned. And Massachusetts, believe it or not, this wasn't just a Salem thing. This isn't a Massachusetts thing. Salem wasn't the first place in America to start some witch hysteria. It actually started, the first one was in Virginia in 1626. A woman was accused of being a witch, but fortunately for her, she was acquitted and then she got the hell out of Dodge. So she didn't get any more accusations, which is basically what I would do. I would find a new village to live in, even though there probably wasn't a whole lot of places to go where they didn't know you. But I would definitely be looking for a new home. So the first witch accusation in this country was in Virginia, and that was 1626. But Connecticut, now they're the ones who really kicked off this witch hysteria, because in 1647 they hanged their first witch, or hung their first, is it? Yeah, they hung their first witch, and her name was Elsie Young. And they kept going after that for several years. So from 1647 until about 1670, uh, they hanged they hung a lot. They had a lot of accusations. They had several people that were hanged. They had their own witch hysteria. I think it was in Hartford and one other town. They didn't have the mass scale that Salem did, but Salem is not, and it still continued after Salem. Virginia, back to Virginia again, they had accusations there many years after Salem's unfortunate events. So to look back and go, "Oh God, Massachusetts, you're crazy. Look what you did." Well, it wasn't just Massachusetts. This was the colonies at the time. These are very religious people, very religious. Especially up in New England, these are the Puritans, and they are fanatical about what they believe, right? Black and white, there's no gray area. You do this or you're in league with the devil, pretty much, right? So Massachusetts was by no means any different from the rest of the colonies. They all had, I don't know if you guys can, I can't even imagine living back then, because it is nuts to think anytime you're going to have your Native Americans, right? They're getting pushed off of their land. You've got some pretty pissed off people. You have like I think it was trying to think of the charter. I think it was the Massachusetts charter failed or was revoked. So there's all this uncertainty going on at the time that the witch hysteria starts to, like, there's a lot of stuff starting, right? Like there's a lot of, it's hard times, and it was also cold as hell. I mean, even colder than it typically is in New England. They call it the Little Ice Age because it was so cold. And again, now we're going to get back to the wood, right? So firewood probably was a very high commodity. So maybe another reason they didn't burn witches. It probably was a little cheaper for them just to hang them. But which sounds horrible. It's horrible. Um, so it wasn't just women, which we mentioned before. There were 20 people who were put to death. I think I'm saying, yeah, put to death. Uh, 14 of them were women, and 6 of them were men. So 14 women were hanged, 5 men were hanged, and one, who was Martha's husband, Giles, since he turned his wife in, he was pressed to death, which is where he was put under a giant, I don't know, some places I see that it was like a wooden door or some sort of like giant wooden like platform was placed on top of him, and then they just kept putting rocks on him and more and more. And apparently when they asked him, did he want to confess to being a witch? He was like, "Add one more." That's supposedly what he said. I don't know. If you got that much weight on your chest, I don't think you're gonna be talking really. I have asthma, and when I'm having an asthma attack, I feel like there's like a heavy weight on my chest, and I don't know if you could get out a lot of words, but that's what they say. He said, "Put on more or add more," I think is what he said, but I don't know. He turned in his wife as a witch because I don't know if he wanted a new wife or what the situation was, but yeah, so Giles, he should have probably thought that through a little bit. And for many years, Salem had the wrong spot for where the hangings took place. They had a place that they called Gallows Hill, which was a high point in Salem, but that wasn't where it occurred. They're not going to want to hang these witches in the town. They're gonna go outside of town, and at this time, this little spot that I've got pulled up here, this is called Proctor's Ledge. This is a it doesn't look from this picture, it doesn't look very tall, but it is. There's like a little ledge here that kinda levels out where these trees are in the back, and then it goes up more. So and then there's, a flat area up on top of this hill. Because the way they described the hangings is once they were done, they would cut them down and they would throw them. This is really sad, guys, so bear with me. They would throw them down in a crevice because 'cause they're witches, they're not going to get a Christian burial. And if you look at the photo here, you can kinda see there's a crevice. And I'll get better photos. I've got some better ones. This is just of the memorial. This is the one right outside of Salem. So this has the 20 men and women that lost their lives being accused of witches. This isn't obviously all the people who died because several died in jail, but these are the ones that were hanged, and then of course Giles, who was pressed. But this is their memorial there in Salem, it's really pretty. My 10-time great aunt, she is 1, 2, 3, 4, I think she's 6. I think she's right the 6th one in, if I'm not mistaken. So, I Sarah Wiles is my 10-time great aunt. Uh, Her brother was my 10-time great grandfather. She was in the second group of women that lost their lives, uh, due to, being accused of witches. And then I think I have a grandmother that is also was one of the, accused and one of the hanged as well. And we'll get to her because she has a really good story. I don't I haven't 100%, um, connected her as my, like, grandmother way back. But it's pretty, I'm fairly confident, like, I'm about, like, 80% confident that she probably is the person, who we think she is. But because believe it or not, it really there weren't a whole lot of people, when you think about it, and a lot of these people married into the others' families, like, it's just, if you can trace your history back to Salem, and you know somebody else that does, you're probably related in some way. Just because, like, a lot of these families, they married into each other's families, so you'll see these names pretty frequently, especially when you get that far back doing genealogy. Let me tell you what, like, I wanted to hit my head up against this wall here because it gets so crazy. The names, the so many men named John, so many women named Anne and Mary, and you're just waiting for, like, a really cool name that stands out because, ugh. Otherwise, they're all it's just like you've got 10 people named John Putnam, and you don't know which one is your John Putnam. Um, so yeah, it gets kinda confusing when you get back into especially into this part of history, but this is where up on the top of the hill here is where the witches would have been hanged, and this is probably where they like, right above here, like, right up above the stone wall, there is, like, a crevice there, and that's probably where they did put them. Um, but oddly enough, when they came to do like, when they do their little archaeology thing, and they were digging up around here, they never found any bones. So the thought is they know for sure at least 3 to 4 of the families probably came in the middle of the night. They took the bodies of their relatives and they gave them burials on their home, like, probably at their farms, like, on their own homeland. And I'm going to assume that that's probably what happened to most of them. I think, a lot of them would have just their families would have come under, like, cover of darkness and, taken their loved ones away and not said anything about it. Because it's not like they were really getting buried here, and I don't think like, I can't imagine 20 20 bodies being hanging out here without, and that's another reason why, they wouldn't do it in town, right? They're not gonna want that stuff in the middle of their streets, but that is, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. I think those were the big misconceptions. Like, I've got so many darn notes, I don't even know where to start, but, um, I've got one video. I love this guy. I met him. He is the owner. I'm gonna wait to pop him up because when I pop him up, it's gonna start. Here, let me remove this here. But to go so the first time I went to this memorial, this is the Proctor's Ledge. I think they named it Proctor's Ledge. I think this actually was part of the Proctor's property at one time. I believe that's where it got its name from, like, it was part of the Proctor's farm. I don't know if it was John Proctor because he was one of the men that was accused of witchcraft and was hung there. Um, girl, right this is the one that's right outside it's Salem. I think it's still considered Salem in this area. There's a Walgreens right to the if you were to go right from this photo, there's a Walgreens and there's a Dunkin' Donuts because there's always a Dunkin' Donuts, on every corner, it seems like in this area. But at the top of the hill, there are some beautiful old houses up here on the backside, and I didn't know the first time we went here, I didn't know you could actually go up there. I thought it was, like, illegal or something because you kinda have to walk through somebody's yard, and I don't like to do that kinda thing because I don't really wanna get arrested or piss people off, so I we didn't go up there. I think we walked past it, and then I saw, like, a couple YouTubers that were up on top of that hill, and they were, like, walking around up there, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" Like, I wanna do that. So the next time we went, we did go up there, and I have to tell you, of all the spooky places that I've been to, this is I'm trying to compare it to, like, above I've been to the asylum that I'm going to, not this weekend, but next weekend, that's up north of me. That is probably the creepiest place I've ever been because I used to go up there and sneak into the buildings alone, and that was pretty creepy. This feeling that I got being up here and I was with my father and my son, and I still got so creeped out up on top of this hill. Like, it's so crazy. It it looks just like I mean, there's nothing creepy looking about it, really, but I had goosebumps. It was just a really weird feeling. Like you can sense that there's something else there, if that makes sense. I just got a very, I don't know, just a heavy feeling. That's probably better term for it. But anyway, we met the gentleman who owns so his property, which he doesn't mind. Well, he didn't mind us because he was out in his yard, and we asked him if we could walk, if he minded if we cut through to go to the back here, and he's like, "Oh, no," and he actually gave us a tour, and he is about the nicest dude, like, I think I have met on any of our trips, like, honestly, I mean, I was a little in love with him, he's pretty cute, and I hope he's there the next time I go because 'cause I'm gonna, um he did tell me I could video him because he was telling us a really good story, and then I'm gonna after I play his video, I'm gonna wrap it up after this, and then we'll start with the actual people, probably Sunday night. Um, and I've already forgot this guy's name, but I wrote it down somewhere. I'll look it up. But I hope you guys like this guy as much as I do. So hang on. I'm gonna add him. And he was telling us a story about he says a lot of oddly enough, a lot of famous people have come up on this hill on Proctor's Ledge. A lot of famous people, and he's gonna tell us who he got to meet. Uh, I'm gonna assume this was many years ago. Okay, I'm gonna play it. All right, here we go.
A chauffeur, and he says, "Excuse me, sir, could I tell me how to get to Gallows Hill?" I says, "Well, you're on Gallows Hill. This is all part of Gallows Hill and the famous Gallows Hill." And I sent him actually 2 streets up. There's a park with a water tank with the witch and all that, you know.
Trails that go there,
So, anyways, one thing led to another, and then all of a sudden there's a guy beside him, and I'm trying to figure. That's kind of funny. You have a big limousine. You're in the back seat, probably a glass of wine or something.
Oh, yeah, champagne.
Yeah, I would have thought. Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what the heck? You know, what's he? You know, so he starts with about 10, 12 questions, right? And then, fine, thank you, sir, I appreciate it. I says, you're welcome, have a good day, you know? So they go to pull out, and they have to wait for some cars going by, and the back window comes down. There's a woman in the back, all by herself, big horn rimmed glasses. You ever heard of John and Yoko?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they were here.
They were here.
They were here.
Oh,
Yeah, and it turned out, because that night, I had a fire that night, and I was friendly with a couple of guys from our news that always used to hit me up. I was an officer there, and hey, can you tell them what caused the fire, et cetera, and all that?
Yeah,
anybody got hurt, you know, and all that. So I says, hey, I got a question for you. Would it be in Salem today? He says, hell no, why? I says, well, this morning, this is what happened. He says, geez, no. He says, usually they tell the news because they want publicity,
Yeah.
you know, and all the rest of it. He says, I'll check it out for you, but I don't. Next morning, he calls me. He says, you son of a gun, you were right. They were here. And I says, what's the story? And she says, she's got about 4 or 5 dozen books on witchcraft. It was her big thing.
That was her thing.
And
I've got about
very much interested in it. And they were doing a gig. He was doing a gig in Boston, and evidently he said, "Hey, we got a few hours off. Let's go to Salem. It ain't that far.
20 minutes.
You know?
Yeah, up the road.
So
So John Lennon's been here.
Yeah, he was killed about 2 years later.
Yeah.
You remember going into his apartment?
I hope you guys like that. I've got a thing for firefighters, and I know he's way over my age limit. Typically, I don't go that high, that old. But he was so sweet. He gave us a tour. I had taken some other video of him, like showing us around. I'm gonna try to find it, but he was so nice. I loved him. I want to say his name is Bob. I don't think that's his name, but it might have been. But I loved his accent. He was a retired firefighter. I was half in love with him, and I'm pretty sure my dad would have left me there because my dad really liked him too, and that was my dad talking in the background. Well, myself and my dad, but yeah, he was so sweet, and I loved him, and when I found that video, I was like, "Oh my god, this is perfect." But yeah, his house backs up, um, to that's the official that is Gallows Hill, but that is not what people typically when if you were to go and say, "I'm gonna go to Gallows Hill in Salem," it'll be up by the water tank. That's what he was talking about. So you'll see the big water tank, and it's got the witch city on the side. It's got the little witch on the broom. That's where the old Gallows Hill, that's where they actually, for the longest time, thought the witches actually were hanged. But yeah, they've only within maybe the last 10 years or so, I think they discovered that wasn't right. I know maybe maybe a little longer than that, but so I did ask him if he had, like, did he have any crazy experiences? Like, his house, right? Like, he says, that area back there, I think they technically call it a park, so you can go back there. It's not illegal. Uh, but you do kinda sorta have to walk through his yard, which I thought was, that would be a little annoying to me, but yeah, he was, I we totally lucked out that he was outside working his yard, and yeah, when he saw us, he was more than happy to talk to us, and I think we sat out there well, not sat, but we were out there with him probably for a good, I don't know, probably at least an hour, hour and a half, just like, he just had story after story. He did say he had some weird stuff that went on in his house. Yeah, like most old people, right? Like, "Get off my lawn." Right? And they're, like, gonna call the police. "I'm gonna call the police on you." But he was really sweet. He said really not a whole lot of people come up there to because most people aren't aware of that yet. Most of the people are gonna be down on the lower side because up where his house is, that was where the witches would have been hanged, and down below the photo that I showed you here, I'll pop it back up, um, that's actually on the opposite side from his house, so it's down on the hill. I got too many screens open here right now 'cause I've been showing you guys so much media tonight that I'm so proud of myself that I haven't muted. Um, is this it? Yeah, here it is. So wait, remove. Or why isn't this one showing? All right, I can't pop that picture back up. It's not letting me. So I spoke too soon. Damn it. So we'll go back. Maybe it'll work tomorrow night. But let's see. Oh, C. Smith, I think that's about uh I don't have anything else to say about my boyfriend. He was so sweet. Other than that, I will find out where I wrote his name down. What was C. Smith had something that she popped up said so. Um Seattle law enforcement would hang people in the middle of town, now Pioneer Square. The location to this day has really bad vibes. Weird building, murders occur around there and hauntings. Yeah. I I am so curious. Like that was my first question to um my boyfriend was, you know, did he have any experiences or anything? And he didn't really I don't remember. I'll have to look and see if I can find because I did record several, that was the longest one I think I recorded, but I did get a couple little bits here and there from what he was saying, and I can't remember if he told us. I just remember him saying some weird stuff had happened, right? But yeah, I think um it wasn't too it like gallows, they would put them up in the middle of town, right? Like, I think of, like, the Old West days, like, you watch those old movies. I don't know how true to reality those are. But this is a little further back in time. Well, like a lot further back, 1692. And I know that if you watch the History Channel, I think there's like 4 or 5 parts to it. It's really good. It is so good. It is so well done. Like, I love it. Like I said, I've watched it a bunch. Like, sometimes I've just put it on and, I don't fall asleep to it, though. I will warn you about that. Don't fall asleep because you will have dreams that you're in a jail in Salem, and it's not I had nightmares. It's not good. But, yes, we will pick up where we are leaving off here. We're leaving off with my honey, and it was so sweet. And if I can't find out his name, I'm gonna feel so bad. This was a few years ago. We've been back since, but ooh, I can't. I know I got his name somewhere. I'll find it. I promise. But I just happened to. I don't know if I would live right there. That's a little too much for me. Like, I grew up in a haunted house. It wasn't that bad, but, and that's just regular people dying, like, nobody well, except for Sigmund, and my grandpa and the first owner, but really most of the deaths here were, like, had a couple people die from TB, well, consumption in their time. So and then just mostly, like, old age stuff, like, heart attacks and strokes for the old people, but so there's not a lot of but I can't imagine some place that, like, hanged, 19 people that were accused as witches, like, that would leave a good imprint on the ground there. I would imagine that that's something that's probably gonna stick around. I can't imagine you would feel too happy. One of I think it was Bridget is it Bridget Bishop? Yeah, the first one hanged was Bridget Bishop, and she supposedly put a curse on them. And we'll talk more about her because I like Bridget. She's very sweet. But she was another one of those women too, right? That just one of those poor women. Like, you could not, if you were unmarried, if you were a little weird, if you were a lot weird, you were gonna probably get accused. Also, if you're gonna say your wife is a witch, they're probably gonna come back and get you too. So just don't turn your witch wife in, and, um, maybe Giles wouldn't have died, but anyway, we'll get into, I'll start getting into some more of the misconceptions because there's still quite a few out there, right? Like with we'll talk about supposedly what caused all of it, right? Like they wanted to say that there was like food poisoning. Probably not. Actually, no, it wasn't. But I think that's where I'll pick up on Sunday night. Thank you guys for sticking with me for this long tonight. Once again, I didn't think I was going to go this long, but those postmortem photos really took up. Those were hard to get through. I don't want to. Can we not come back to those again? We've done them, right? We're good. Everybody's good. Um, Maybe some other time. I mean, we could just come back and watch this again if we really want to know more. But yeah. Ooh, what? Oh, Fatty's cookies? Oh, damn it. Girl Rat, I am there. I'll be back actually really soon. If I am not See, I wanted to get back by November. It's not looking like I'm going to, but I'll be back in the spring. So I think I'm probably going to come in March for sure. And yeah, I always hit we did the Cape last time. I saw enough. I'm good with that. So I'll probably be back to except I do have to get to the Bridgewater Triangle. That's on the list to go next time. So yeah. And because I have to learn more about it so I can do a better show. Because I really feel bad about the show that I did too. It's not my favorite one. But we'll hopefully get better when I can go. I want to go to these places, and I definitely want some damn cookies, especially fatty cookies. I'm all over cookies. So that's all you have to say. And thank you guys. Yeah, the grain. That's what C Smith that's what we're gonna get into next time. But yeah, I don't food poisoning, yeah, we'll tear it apart because I'm I think it's just a bunch of people being a bunch of just being bad people. Just be bad. They're bad. They're bad. They're just selfish people. And I think we know n- some things never change. And yeah, there's still these weird people, these selfish, prejudiced people in the world still doing this stuff. Maybe not hanging people, but yeah, it's pretty bad. So thank you guys. I'm gonna get some sleep. I hope you guys do too. Or at least I hope I can sleep after this. I hope I don't have freaking nightmares about people and taking pictures of me in a coffin or people waking up out of their coffins because those I can't unsee that. I saw some way worse pictures than what I showed you guys, just so you know. There were some really I don't know why you want to remember grandma like that. It's just not right. I'd rather just not remember grandma if it has to be a bad photo. And I hope you guys liked my boyfriend Bob. I'm just gonna call him Bob now. Yeah, that's it. And like I said, if there's something you guys want to talk about, like I said, I still have the lighthouses on my list. And I'm pretty damn sure we're gonna talk about crystals again. I'm just gonna keep putting this in my bra. I think it's working. I don't know if I told you guys that at the beginning, but it is working. I think because I feel less funky, if that makes any sense. And then if Pat comes and watches this in the playback, I'm gonna send you a little mushroom, but you're gonna have to tell me where to send it because I think I'll give you my second. Well, I don't know. Maybe this is my first favorite. I don't know. I'll find one to send to you, but I'll send you one because they're super cute. But yeah, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, I'll go down those rabbit holes. I'll do it for you guys. I'll do it. I'm a very selfless person. um, that's it. I'm gonna go because I'm starting to get really sleep deprived. But thanks, guys, and I will see you on Sunday night, not Saturday night this week. It'll be Sunday night, I think, from now on. So, check out the ghost deer, the video that I posted from the cemetery, which I will be doing again probably Monday night. So we'll have another one. So far, I haven't found a ghost, but I thought I heard a ghost. But you guys go listen. If you hear it, cool. If not, I'm probably crazy. Just just a little bit. All right. All right, guys. Bye. Thank you.